Mm. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. What up? Hmm. What is this button? No, I don't want to do that. Yo, what up? Oh man, what's going on? Yo, 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 yiggity yo, yiggity yo, yiggity yo. Mm. Still, Sherb Herb came straight in and went straight to asking questions. How can new authorities get work if you don't mind? Love the videos. If you're on the new, best thing that I can tell you to do will be two things that I wouldn't recommend anybody to do. But if you're new in today's day and age, you may have to do it. You may have to lease on. Well, if you're going OTR, you may have to lease on to someone who has some type of tenure, or you may have to sign up with a dispatcher that has relationships with brokers who work with new authorities, or you can just broker your own deals with brokers that work with new authorities like TQL, with the understanding that you may be taking, they're going to drive a hard bargain as far as the negotiation, but you know that's something you need to understand coming in, as a new authority. That's what you're going to have to deal with. Me personally, if I were to come in running OTR under a new authority, I would already have the understanding that I need to come in very, very low, understanding that it's going to be tough at the beginning, understanding that I'm going to have to work with companies like TQL, and I need to make sure my costs are extremely, extremely, extremely low, so that whatever they're willing to, wherever I can get them to bend, and whatever I can get them to accept as far as the rates are concerned, I at least want to be profitable, somewhat. So those are pretty much your options. Shout out to Tony Coins, Kelvin Birch, Sherb Herb, Sharks World. What up? What up? Picture me rolling. What's going on? What up, Mark? The link back from you for the Rivian CEO, and we appreciate that. What up, Mark? Just got the link. Okay. Oh, you was on the Discord. All right. So boom. I'm gonna talk about that real quick. So I did start a Discord. It's something that has been asked of me to do for a while now. I finally did it. I think I got a big enough community for it now. Um, it is complicated over there as far as setting it up. I think that's what kind of discouraged me from it. I see why a lot of people don't do it, uh, but I think it's a good place where if you do have a large community, um, it's a good 24-hour platform, meaning it's more direct. So, for instance, if I'm doing a live stream and I'm streaming and I'm cooking, I see people in the chat, helping each other out, asking questions. People in there that are tenured and knowledgeable are answering questions because they see me cooking, so they go ahead and chime in and answer questions for the newbies. Just networking, sharing ideas. This platform allows that to happen 24 hours a day, and and you have direct connection. So I don't have to be live. You could just literally go in one of the channels and start talking, and everybody gets the notifications and everybody chimes in. I opened it up to the MGM gang first about a week ago, and they've already been in there. You know, they're up early in the morning, 3, 4, 5 in the morning at the docks at loadout, taking pictures and videos at the loading docks, taking pictures of their truck, you know, challenging the other who's up, who's out working. They showing themselves on the road, getting to it, showing their loads. I think somebody in there, I actually shot a video of him delivering like a French door refrigerator and a man, was that a, no, it wasn't a ranch. Uh, it was a bi-level home. So if you know you delivering something to a bi-level home, you got to go up a few flights of stairs, and then there's a door to the left, and then maybe a door to the right, and then you got to kind of go up them flights of stairs, and then kind of go over to the right. You have to take the doors off the French door. You show that process. And this is the type of content that's going in there. All right, and we got private channels. Obviously, those private channels are for people who are a part of the MGM gang. So, you know, if you're just a regular member, you might not have access to those because those are more financial channels where it's a little bit more advanced, and you gotta kind of you know, be a part of that group in order to access those channels. But your box truck, your cargo van, your gig, there's Amazon Relay channel in there, and some other channels. I even got some uh, culture channels in there, and so far it's really been good. Better, it's the engagement is in there is a lot more than what I thought it would be, just for the private sector. But now I've opened it up to the public. So there's a link in this description of this live stream. If you go to the main channel page, you'll see the link to the description there. You have direct access to me because you can add me in, and I'll get the notification to my phone. And I'm pretty much responsive, right? So it's just another form of what do you call it? Communication. But you know, it's more community based because there are people that are tenured, that are experienced, that are in there helping people, or are willing to help people. There's over 40 something moderators. There's a level of uh, 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 what do you call it, authentication that you got to go through in order to get in. Obviously, it's just not just boom, boom, bam, thank you, man. You gotta, you know, go through the process. You gotta connect your email, and then you have to go through a two-step verification. We want to do that so we can make sure we keep the bots out and we keep the unwanted out. All right. So if you're, you know, serious about box truck and cargo van logistics, there's a semi truck channel in there, and you want to learn, and you're looking to get as much information as you can for free. I Now is the time at this level of my channel to open that up, right? Um, so link is pinned in this description. It's also pinned to the channel page for you to go sign up there as well. You'll probably be able to get in contact with me a lot faster there than on Instagram. All right, and if I can't answer your question, there's other people that are in those channels that can. Make sure that you appropriate whatever it is you're going to be posting in there in the appropriate channels, because we don't want to kick you or ban you or block you, because this is you know we want everybody to ultimately win. In order to win, we have to make sure that people get the best information and not sidetrack, and we want to make sure we keep out all the unwanted. All right, so that's my little spiel on that. So make sure you guys go get in there, all right, while it's still open, because I may close it off. All right, we see how many people we can get. All right. St. Louis said, "Yo, Volkswagen invested in Rivian." Yep, a few weeks ago, $5 billion. That's why it went from $10 to about $15. Pippi, I need you to go over there so we can get your moderation status, please. Pippi, we need you over there. Why is it so difficult to start the business in Cali, and what should I do? The reason why it's difficult to start trucking in Cali is because of Gavin Newsom. You got to go talk to Gavin Newsom, possibly the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in 2028. That's y'all boy, Gavin Newsom. Go talk to old Gavin, the potential Democratic elect of 2028. They prepping them. They preparing them to run. All right. So trucking is difficult out there because of Gavin Newsom and his policies. All right. Edgar Guzman, what's going on? Tony Coins, what up? What up? Brown Goat, what's going on? Almost ready for the field. You say, am I almost ready for the field? Is that what you're asking? Caduce sounds like a good deal. Rose Bright checking from South Carolina. What's going on? Kirk Morris, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. All right. I just wanted to do a Q&A. I haven't been on in a few days. I've been busy building that Discord, which took me we still working on it. About 3 days in, but it's coming along. So that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days. DJ Starboy, what's going on? Kirk Morris, what's going on? So this is a Q&A. Oh, you said your truck is ready to run? Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing some. I guess I can talk about that while questions are coming in. So another thing that I've been asked to do. So we took care of the Discord. That's something that people have been asking me to do. Got that out the way. Is more in the field content, and this is something I've been saying I'm gonna do. 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 All right. So we getting closer to me actually mustering up the thought of doing it. So y'all saw me last week. I went to the yard. I chose what truck I'm gonna do it in. I sent it to the shop. Of course, they gonna find some shit to get some money up out of me. So they found some stuff. I mean, the truck been sitting a couple years, so I'm gonna spend about what they sent me is gonna cost me about $3,000. I told them go ahead and do it. So I think the truck will probably be ready maybe Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. But it turned out they said obviously I had to get a new battery, um, some wiring with the lights probably from just sitting outside. This past 2 winters, well, this winter we had like a week of like negative 50-degree weather. I don't know if that got something to do with it, but there was some wiring issues with some of the lights, so we want to make sure all the lights are good, right? Obviously a battery, then some front end work, some tie rods, what he said, gearbox, idle arms, both sides, tie rods, both sides, gearbox, idle arm, and a few more items. I think the quote was somewhere between $2,200 and $3,000. We'll see when it gets done. I told him to go ahead and do the work. It is what it is. All right. So when they call me to come pick up the truck, I'm gonna go ahead and go pay them, get the truck, and then from there I am going to. So I'm. Here's the thing, because this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do I want to do it in the form of utilizing my leverage, right? Or should I start with a brand new, like coming in, like shooting content like I'm on the new, right? So should I create like a brand new thumbtack and see how it goes from there, seeing if I could build a new one up from scratch. Something's telling me, what I'm saying, just cheat, just utilize my already leveraged thumbtack, cut my cut my cut my leads back on since there's plenty of reviews on there and great rating, and just utilize that basically to shoot content, basically to show people how to engage with customers, customer service, how to wrap things, how to put things on the truck, strap them, things from in the field from a more basic standpoint, because I will just be doing this content by myself. But then something's telling me like, man, Mark, that's kind of like not fair. Like, you got a lot of people that's on the new, and they need to know what it's like from a beginner standpoint. So maybe you should start a new thumbtack and work your way from there. So I don't know. That's what I'm kind of deciding on. Then I got Curry. Obviously, they've they're gonna send me shit because I'm a creator, you know what I'm saying? So that's not gonna even be fair either, because the type of shit that I'm gonna be getting ain't probably like what you'll even see pop up. So I don't even know if that'll be fair. I want it to be from a point where those days that I go out, and I want to commit maybe like 1 day a week, maybe 2 days a week to doing it, and don't hold me to that. Um, but I want to really do it from a perspective of someone that's new. All right, so that I can kind of step into their shoes in today's time, and that probably be the best way for me to create the content, because more new people need this information than people that have experience. All right, so that's what I'm trying to figure out now, because I want to make it authentic. And if I just step back in, okay, man, this dude got box trucks sitting around. So the new person who's coming in, they struggling trying to get the money to get a box truck. I got trucks sitting around. I got relationships. I got apps that are saying, man, whenever you're ready, we'll just turn it on. We'll just send you stuff so you can make content. So it's just, but I want it to be authentic. Even with my thumbtack, you talking about thousands of jobs and a high rate and unlimited. I can set my lease to unlimited because I have the money to do, and a newer person may not be able to do that. So I want it to be authentic as possible. So that's what I'm kind of trying to decide now. All right. So once they call me to go pick up the truck, then hopefully I've come up with a decision on how I'm gonna shoot that particular content. Um, St. Louis said make a new one. Brown Goat says pick up where you left off. Starboy says new to show the process from ground level. My take. Um, well, so far we got 2-1. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. A big portion of which way I go is going to depend on. Um, I ain't gonna lie, Joe. I don't know if I don't know if I wanna. I don't wanna go through that grind, bro. I don't know if I wanna go through that grind. I think that's gonna be too much work. I really want to take the content to the next level as far as just showing some in-field stuff, but I don't know if I necessarily want to start from the beginning. So I may have to take the cheat code. We'll see. We'll see. Or maybe I'll do 50-50. I don't know. But I'm kind of leaning towards the cheat code. So we'll see. The good people at Curry, they, they reached out to me. They said, all right, man, download the app. Now, close it and open it back up, and voila. So, I don't, I kind of want to, I kind of want to show it to you guys from your perspective, but we'll see. How much do you recommend a person has in cash when first starting out? I understand there's a 3-month waiting before you can start rolling and your authority is mature or organized. How much do you recommend? You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. That dollar amount, when people ask me, I keep going up. And the reason why I keep going up, if you look at my content from 3 to 6 months ago, I said a certain number. If you looked at it from a year ago, I had a certain number. And today I'm saying 30,000. Why? Cost of living is going up. Everything is going up. It's getting more difficult out here. The learning curve is costing more due to everything that's going on as far as the cost of living, right? So if you're out and you're struggling, you're over the road. While you're over the road, the cost of food is going up. Everything is costing more, right? Um, and and what I have come to learn just from being on YouTube the past little over 2 years is um, a lot of people aren't, coming into it with the right mind frame. A lot of people just don't understand business, so you have to account for an extra $5,000 to $6,000 because of that. Me, if I was coming in right now, I could, with nothing else but my knowledge and a little bit of money, I could probably do it for under 20 grand. I could probably do it from under 20 grand. But to a person who doesn't have the knowledge, they're losing a lot of money just off of that by itself. A lot of mistakes that are going to be made. I, document these mistakes all the time when you watch the call-in show. You see it. So it's not me making this stuff up. The whole purpose of the call-in show is to showcase uh, a lot of the mistakes that people make so people can see other people's mistakes and try to avoid them. But as we see, and this is what I've been telling people since the very beginning, like, forget box trucking, forget cargo van, forget being a restaurateur, forget any sector of business you go in. If you don't understand business, it's going to be tough for you. You need to understand business. This is why I focus more on business than the actual box trucking. I focus more on business on this channel. It correlates with box trucking. You guys know that I know box trucking in and out, but I see that people need to understand business. People don't understand business. People don't understand basic entry level things that you should know in business, like operational costs, operational expenses, margins. People don't understand this stuff. And this is why so many people fail. And this is why I focus on it. And this is why I reiterate certain things. And this is why I spend so much time on certain things. I can go get in the box truck next week and show you how to wrap a chest and show you how to wrap a dresser. And that's fine. But if you don't know what to charge a customer, right, to go pick up and drop off that chest or that dresser, right, because you don't understand what it costs you to run, whether you're renting a truck, whether you own a truck, your insurance, this, that, and the third, it doesn't really matter. I could show you that shit all day long. But if you don't understand the basic fundamentals of business on how to make money, then it ain't gonna matter. You could be the coldest rapper and the coldest packer your city has to offer. But if you don't understand that you're paying too much for a truck, or what you're renting a truck for, you'll never be able to sustain depending on the lane that you're in. If you don't understand margins, if you don't understand, what to even pay your employees competitive wages, right? Things of that nature. If you don't know where to take the sacrifices at, right? And things of that nature, then you'll never win. That's why understanding business is more important. You know? So I would say 30 grand, man. 30 grand with the understanding that you're coming in as low as possible, meaning 30 grand. I'm not looking to go out and get a really, really expensive truck. I'm looking to get, the best insurance rate possible by getting a referral from a good broker or sourcing out a really, really good broker who understands the insurance business, a broker that's tenured, not some new broker who is new to the industry and trying to make it itself. No, find me a seasoned broker who's going to give me a great insurance policy. If you're renting a truck to start off, making sure I don't jump at the first thing that's presented to me, making sure that I'm patient, negotiating rates, right? Understanding what I need to pay in order for a rental truck in order for me to make money based on the lane that I'm in. If that's not being offered to me, then understanding that I'm going to have to exercise a little bit of patience until I can find a location that is willing to get me right around where I need to be in order for me to profit. Understanding my market, understanding the different lanes that I can run with a box truck to help me determine which lane I should get into. Understanding delayed gratification, understanding that a box truck may not be best for me at the moment. Maybe I need to think about maybe a cargo van and working my way up, or maybe I should start doing e-commerce in my personal vehicle and working my way up from there based on the capital that I have coming in. Being honest with myself. A lot of people ain't honest with themselves because they thinking they can come in for scraps and run it up, and that's not true. You have to have some type of startup capital. You have to have some type of working capital once you get in so that you can sustain that learning curve that has become a lot harder in today's times. Back in the day, a lot of these companies would be willing to work with you and they'll help mentor you as well. I remember going to some of the 3PLs back when I was getting started back in the day, and some of the operations supervisors and the dispatchers, you can ask them questions and they'll spend time answering your questions. It's not really like that anymore, right? So you have to keep all this in mind. I think a strong 30 grand should be enough, understanding everything that I just told you. And even 30 grand to some people, they'll find a way to mess that up. So You have to make sure that everything that I just told you, it's trump tight. You got it. You got it all together. Do I think 20K is enough? It all depends on the individual. I can make 20K work. There's probably some people in here that can make 20K work. We've seen some people that have come in on the channel that have called in on the calling show that came in with 20K. Some people came in with more than 20K and couldn't make it work. All right. So it all depends on the individual and how they enter. It all depends on the individual and how they enter. Their business plan. Do they understand their market? Do they understand the different lanes? Do they understand what's going to work best for them? Did they rent a truck? Do they own a truck? Do they got the best rate for their rental truck? If they bought a truck, how much was the truck that they bought? Who financed the truck? Did they go through an equipment leasing place? Did they cash out on the truck? Who did they go through for their insurance? Did they go to some broker who took advantage of them because they knew they was on the new and they didn't know no better and they paying $3,000 a month? Or did they go to a broker like mine that understands that there's a plethora of different companies out there and has working relationships with all of them, knows how to piece together a policy so it's in the best interest of you, because he understands in order for him to continuously make money off you over a long period of time, you need to stay in business. So he's doing everything in the best interest of you so it can be in the best interest of him. So all these factors play a part, and it's like a piece to the puzzle. All of them got to fit. If you're not, if you don't understand that and you just checking off boxes because you saw some content creator on Instagram tell you these are all the things that you need to get into business, you just going on down them one by one, checking them off, and you're not doing what's best for you for each uh, 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 single checkbox, as far as doing the due diligence for each one, making sure that you're getting the best rate, right, and the best bang for your buck, then 20 grand ain't gonna be enough. 30 grand ain't gonna be enough. 40 grand might not be enough. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on the individual. I could take 20 and it'll look like I did something amazing with it. And then the next person could take 20 and make it seem like this the hardest shit to do in the world. So Brown Gold said, bro, you been there, done it. Don't go through the headache. I feel you. And that's more what I'm leaning to, bro. I swear that's what I'm leaning to. I think I'm gonna go with Brown Gold Logistics, y'all. Tony Russell said 3-month wait time. What are you talking about? For Amazon? Uh Brown Gold say 30K ain't enough. He said 30K ain't enough for some of y'all. So here's the thing. Me, I'm looking at it from a local point perspective. I'm not looking at it from an OTR perspective. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Yeah, I know the OTR lane, but I've never ran OTR. Do I know it? Yes. Can I answer questions on it? Yes. Have I ran it? Nope. But that goes back to market. I've in my tenure I was able to find success locally. So this is something that you guys need. Do I think I could run OTR if I was to start up now? I think I can go get a truck, 26-foot box truck if I want it, and start up and be on my way under 30 grand. Yes, I can. Um, if I didn't have the resources that I have, do I think I would be able to do it with the information, the knowledge that I have? Yes, I think I would be able to do it. And the reason why I would be able to do it is because that learning curve is, like I said earlier, that a lot of new people got to go through. I don't got to go through that. I know what and what not to do. I know if, let's say, a broker is deceiving me, I know that if I get a quote for an insurance rate, I know I could do better. Whereas a new person may not know if they can get a better rate, or may think that the rate that they're giving is just a straight up honest rate. So I think 30K is, it all depends on the individual, just like 20K. I think it all depends on the individual. Velocious Logistics, what's going on? What's your view on business partnerships? Never, especially in box trucking. Here's the reason why: not enough margin. Not enough margin. People that I've come across in box trucking, not this year, not last year, when I first came to YouTube, when I came on YouTube right when all the hype was starting to die down. So I caught the beginning of the end, right? And I ran across some people that had partners and they were struggling. They were going to struggle anyway if they did it on their own, but because that very minimal profit margin, which they weren't in the green anyway, just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough. In order to profit with a partner in this business, you have to be at like a huge, like a mid-level trucking company. Even with me at my peak, it wasn't enough to. I just think okay, so my salary a year was 200 grand. If I would have had a partner, let's say a 50-50 partner, then my salary would have been 100 grand. Right? No, just not enough. Mm-mm, not enough. All right. So, and that was at scale. That was at scale. That was with everything that if you've been following me, you know where my peak was at, right? So, with all of that, my payroll, my pay to myself was 200, right? So, if I had a partner, I would have went through all that for 100 grand just to split the workload and the liability. I'd rather not split the workload and the liability for an extra 100 grand, right? So, I think partnerships are good for companies that are maybe over 50, start maybe 50 up to 100 plus trucks. If you got a few trucks, what do you need a partner for? It's just like my OG always say, God bless the child that's got his own. Why? Because one, the way I go about doing business may not be the way the next person goes about doing business. I may be aggressive. That person may be passive aggressive. I understand, I have a level of no fucks given. Excuse my language. Some people may care. I've lost subscribers on this channel because I started telling people, listen, it's a cutthroat business. If it's me or you, I'm gonna make sure it's me. If I gotta take food off your table, then so be it. If we're going out for the same load and we're bidding on it, it's winner takes all. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to win. Right? Some people may be concerned about the next individual. I'm not. I'm not concerned about the next individual. If we in the fight for that piece of steak that's on the table and it's only one piece of steak and I'm hungry, I gotta get it. So I'm gonna trip you. I'm gonna trip you again. I'm gonna tie your shoelaces together. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do so that I can get to it before you. I'm gonna leverage myself. If I gotta hit somebody's hand, I'm gonna hit somebody's hand. Listen, I'm gonna give you 3% on the back end. Whatever it is, it's business. You know why? Because if you don't do it, somebody else is gonna do it. So you can sit around and be the nice guy all you want, but business is cutthroat. Somebody will be smiling in your face, be your friend all in front of you, and trying to cut your throat behind your back. It's business. So partnerships I don't see the benefit in them for something like a box truck business because it's a small scale business. I don't think it's enough margin there for a partnership. Tony Russell, understood. Appreciate you. When is your show? I'll set a reminder now. Probably the next call-in show will probably be Tuesday. Shout out to Philip Austin. Shout out to Jeep. Class A daycabs are the same price or slightly less than roughly equivalent 26 box trucks right now. So box trucks are. So last time I looked at box trucks, they were really cheap in comparison to what they were 2 years ago. Like I said, the last time I looked at Ryder's website, they were offering buy one get the second truck half off. So, um, Tony says I just moved to Texas, but I set up my business in Cali before I moved out. What's the best way to go about it to transfer my business? I can tell you that. I know one thing: registering a trucking company in California is probably something that I would not recommend anybody to do. Most people that are starting businesses, trucking business in California, usually uh, register them in Nevada, right? And this is after the whole AB5 thing and everything else that Gavin Newsom. So a lot of the things that are going on with California in regards to logistics and trucking all have to do with Gavin Newsom and Gavin Newsom's policies. And like I said at the beginning, Gavin Newsom is who they're grooming to be the Democratic candidate probably for 2028 or 2032. More than likely 2028, because I don't see anybody else that they're grooming. Michelle, I doubt it. I doubt if she wants to be the president. Kamala, they know she's not strong. So for 2028, it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom, right? Um, and his policies in California, and this is why I'm saying this is like even coming in business, just understanding what's going on. So people like, well, Mark, you in Chicago, Illinois, you know about the shit going on in California? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know about everything, but I know about the stuff that may affect things in the future. I mean, if you are in trucking, I don't give a goddamn what part of the country you in, and you don't know who Gavin Newsom is, you tripping. And if you don't know, you better get to know him, because if he implements half of the shit that he's implementing in California in regards to logistics, and you planning on being in this thing the next 10, 15 years, you better get to know him. All right. Um, yeah, so I would, I don't know how I go about transferring your business from California to Texas, because this is not something I've ever had to do. Worst case scenario, you could do, if you haven't started it, you could just dissolve that business that you have in California and just start a new one. So if you're up and operational, then you might want to speak to your accountant. If you're up and operational, speak to your accountant. If you're not up and operational yet, you might just, the easiest way I think you could go about it is just dissolving it, just letting that one in California dissolve, and then just starting a new one in Texas. You said you already have your DOT and setting up your MC soon. So you can contact the FMCSA as far as switching that, but then you have to switch your articles of incorporation or your articles of an organization. And to be honest with you, I don't know about doing that because I've never had to do it. But I would look into it, I would inquire, and then I would weigh whatever you find out as far as switching it. Is it more difficult and more costly to do it that way once you go through the research and find out, or is it easier and less costly to just let the California one dissolve and just start a new one in Texas? Is the 20 to 30K after you acquire the truck? That's with acquiring the truck. That's with acquiring the truck. Um, Scott Ramsey. Scott Ramsey is the founder and the owner of UST, guys. In the chat, shout out to Scott Ramsey. Scott Ramsey is the founder and the owner of UST, guys. He's in the chat right now. Shout out to Scott Ramsey. Hey, Scott Ramsey, we were supposed to be working on some stuff for the channel as far as some. You had, well, a few of your colleagues, executives reached out to me last year, and they were in communication with me, and I was able to get some of my subscribers set up, and we were supposed to be working on some stuff for the channel to help people who are coming into the final mile business out, and then you guys just kind of ghosted me. What's going on, Scott? Man, let's talk. Let's set up a Zoom meeting, man, because we got a lot of people. I have a lot of subscribers, and we have people in the final mile business, and I think uh, uh, us collaborating on something to uh, uh, showcase final mile, and just setting up some tutorial videos, maybe coming in, I can interview you or walk through the warehouse. We can shoot some content in the warehouse just to bring some light on final mile and your company, right? We were supposed to be working on something like that, and then I don't know what happened. So why don't you reach out to me, man? Let's set up a Zoom meeting or something. I forget it was three young ladies that I was communicating with. One was like um, one was actually your assistant, I believe. I think her name was You can start with an E. I gotta go through my emails. Uh, Jeep says I run a business and still work on books. Tony Russell, that was a correction to my spelling. You answered that question. I was the one that asked you about the 20K. I think 20K is kind of rough. It depends on the individual and your knowledge in the space. If you have someone to walk you through it, that's going to save you from a lot of the mistakes that's going to cost you. The learning curve is costly. The learning curve when I got into this industry in 2010 is a lot more than it is now. The 3PLs back then operated different than they operate now, right? The people that work in the 3PLs, from the operations supervisors to just even the dispatchers, their level of patience is different now than it was back then. You have people that have less patience versus back then. So it's like you kind of got to know what you're getting into when you go in there, right? And without having someone to kind of hold your hand or someone that you can call, when you're out there and ask questions, it's going to be difficult. Even back then, you could go in on the new and there'd be other contractors that were there that were tenured and they say, here's my cell phone number. When you get on your route, just call if you got a question. You had other people that were just like you that were independent contractors that were willing to help you and guide you through. It's not like that anymore. There's that camaraderie and that level of uh, camaraderie is just not there anymore. Like, man, people is out for themselves. It's winner takes all. Is every man for themselves, right? So each mistake that you make is going to cost you. You could literally get thrown to the wolves that first day. You can go through a week of training, and then your very first day. I love using this example. And there's some guy that in the Discord that did this exact. Well, one of these refrigerators last week, he did a 28 cubic foot French door refrigerator. I think it was a Samsung, not the one with the screen on the front. This is like a $3,000 or $4,000 refrigerator. Imagine that being your first delivery and you damage it. So what your gross earnings may be for the week, your very first delivery out by yourself, you got a $3,000 or $4,000 claim. And guess what? At the end of the day, shit rolls downhill. The retailer isn't going to pay for it, right? Because they didn't make the mistake. 3PL ain't going to pay for it. You know why? Because you signed off on it when you left the warehouse. When you loaded the truck, when you did the inspection, when the shit was on the dock, you signed off on it. You put it in your truck. So they're saying, well, the damage had to happen sometime after you left the dock. Had to happen when you loaded it on the truck. You didn't secure it right. You didn't wrap it. Or it happened when you were bringing it off the truck or when you were bringing it into the home. Either way, the consumer denied the delivery at the door. So somebody's got to pay for it. It's going to be you. They may not take it all at one time. They may break it up in 4 payments, 5 payments, 2 payments, 3 payments, whatever. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose that dispute and you're going to end up paying for it. So you got to know what you're doing, right? Because the learning curve costs. That's going to be a costly mistake. And it could have been something that could have been prevented. You could have, if you would have had a mentor, let's say, you could have called somebody, hey, how should I go about tackling getting this refrigerator in this ranch home or in this bungalow or up these 2 flights of stairs? Should I use the shoulder straps? Should I use the appliance dolly? How should I go about it? Should I use the hump straps? Should I take the door off? Should I leave the doors on? Should I take the door off to the apartment or to the house, or should I take the doors off the refrigerator? If you don't have someone that you can FaceTime and let's say show them what's going on, right? You got to figure it out on your own on the fly. You may just happen to make that mistake. That's just the honest to God truth, and it may cost you. So. Brown Gold says OTR 30K with great credit is not going to cut it. There you go from a OTR guy said 30K ain't going to cut it nowadays. I use box truck contractors to from big lots. Would you like to expand on what 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 they were collaborating. What do you mean? What who's collaborating on? You talking about when I was talking to Scott Ramsey? What was your situation like before you became an entrepreneur? I was went to college. I worked at the Gap all through college. After graduating college, couldn't find a job. The only people who would hire me was Target. So they opened a new store here. This one Target was really coming into the market and they were building a lot of their stores. So like in the '03. So I got a management position at Target as the stock manager because I had started in stock at the Gap through college and I worked my way up to the stock manager all through college. Got hired as a stock manager at Target after graduation because no one else would give me a job. Worked there 2 years. Then I started working at this advertising company for like 2 years, but that wasn't local. It was local sometimes, but it was travel most of the time. I was like a what was the title called? I was like a not an event, an account coordinator or whatever. So I would travel to different markets and hire people to do campaigns. So like a campaign manager. So Boost Mobile was one because that was up on the rise at that time around '06. Verizon, Cricket Wireless in some markets, Metro PCS, Bank of America, Huntington Bank. I remember McDonald's was one of our clients. So I would go, let's say, to Miami for 2 weeks, and I would have to hire a team to do a Verizon campaign. So I'd go down there, put an ad up, get a hotel, put an ad up, hire like some models. They'll send me everything to my hotel, the outfits for the models, the signage, whatever. And then we target certain events, and then they'll try to get people to sign up for Verizon, right? And then I just manage the campaign. Or it might have been a Segway campaign. So then they'll have a truck come down with Segways and then um, show the models or the event staff that we hired for that local market for whatever long that campaign was, how to ride the Segways and whatever the marketing material was, whatever they needed to say or chant, whatever the jargon was to get people to go into Bank of America and sign up for a checking account. Whatever. I did that for like a year and a half, 2 years. I got tired of the travel. I got tired of living in hotel rooms, being away. Came back home, was unemployed, worked for a buddy of mine that had a local clothing and cell phone store. So this is back when cell phones were still kind of on the rise, not like they are today. Prepaid was kind of new and still on the rise. Boost Mobile was the big thing, and urban fashion was the big thing. So in a lot of the neighborhoods, urban communities, you would see cell phone and clothing stores, right? So I worked in one of them for about a year and a half, but I was good with tech and I was just smart. So I helped build out the online presence for the cell phone and store. So I wasn't like on the floor or nothing like that. I was more building out the back end. And after I built out the back end was making more, the website was making more than the store was making, right? And when I say website, I'm talking about eBay. Like we were selling phones and clothes on eBay more than we were selling in the store to the point where eBay froze the PayPal account for the business because they wanted to know what was going on. And also the distributor, this is back in the day when 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 prepaids were on the rise. The way prepaids work were you would, if you had like a urban like cell phone shop, you would have an account with a distributor. So if you were running Boost Mobile, you wouldn't have the account directly with Boost. Boost had distributors in different markets. So we had a few different distributors. One of them I can remember was called VHA. It was up north on Elston. So we would buy the phones from VHA and we would also buy the minutes from VHA. So VHA had an allotment of minutes that they would buy wholesale from Sprint. Then they would distribute those to the local mom and pop cell phone and stores like that. So we were selling so many phones online that even the distributor like, yo, how y'all go from moving this amount of phones to this amount? And then we told them what we were doing. eBay wanted to kind of know, so they put a freeze on it. But I built that back end business to the point where it was so lucrative. He was like, man, I want to open up a second brick and mortar store. So I was going to oversee that project, and it wasn't even here; it was in Gary, Indiana. So I was driving from Gary, Indiana every day. I was like the project coordinator for that. as far as going to Home Depot, picking out the Florida showcases and stuff, the demo, everything. Boom. Built out that store. And then from there, me and the owner, we're cool today, but we just we just didn't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and we would obviously I was beneficial to him because was making him more money. He was utilizing what I have up here, right? And he saw that in me, and that's what he was supposed to do. But I had my own ideas, right? And a lot of my ideas that I would tell him, a lot of them he would like, and some of them he didn't. I felt like I had more of an eye for the urban community because I come from that community. We just used to clash a lot, and then one day we clashed, and obviously he fired me. I've been fired 50 times from him, and then 2 days later when he come to his senses, he'll call me back. But this time I didn't want to go back, right? Because I knew it was just we would 3 months later we would get into it again. I didn't go back. So I was sitting at home, not making any money, and I had ran out of money at that point. So I was on Craigslist, and I was looking. I had a CD tower, like a 7 drawer CD burner, right? Because I was, in my pastime, I was like managing like local artists and stuff like that. So I would create the CDs, and then we would pass them out for marketing and stuff like that. So I was going to sell my CD burner on Craigslist, and I ran across an ad of a guy that said, we'll do small moves and deliveries with his pickup truck. And I'm like, shit, I got a pickup truck. And I posted an ad, and that was similar to his. I pretty much just copied his ad and put it in mine and just changed the contact information. And 10, 15 minutes later, I got a call. Wasn't expecting it. Didn't think it was going to be instantaneous. Guy called, said, I got a mattress I needed picked up here and taken there. How much you want to charge me? I didn't even know what to charge him because I wasn't expecting a call. I told him 75. He said, when can you be here? I said, give me an hour. I went and called a friend who wasn't working. Picked him up. We went up there. We did it. And the phone never stopped ringing from there. And I turned that into a lucrative moving and final mile trucking company and made a lot of money from it. But I've documented this story. I did a live stream about a month or two ago that kind of walked you through the whole process from beginning to 2022. So, but yeah, so you can go look at that. Ever known as any USPS contract carriers using box trucks? I've heard of some. Some people have reached out to me asking me in regards to those USPS contracts, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen any. If I have seen some in passing, I didn't know that's what they were doing. Um, I heard they exist, but none of them have ever landed across me. I've had people ask me about them. The closest I've seen is Capstone had a contract where they were delivering sacks of e-commerce stuff. So semi trucks, yes. Box trucks, I haven't seen it. What about something like food trucks? I'm not into food trucks. I'm not a restaurateur, so I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't even know where to begin to even tell you. Time. You are 100% right. That's why marriage are falling because couples are looking at them as partnership. Marriage is not a business; it's a bond. Marriage is not a business; it's a bond. Yeah. So the way I look at business and the way a lot of other people look at business may be different. There's people that agree with me on business. We've seen that there's people that disagree with me on business. I learned very on that business is cutthroat. And not to say that you have to be cutthroat, you have to definitely be competitive. And you have to understand that. You got to put yourself and your business first. If you want to make it, that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So, you said, oh, okay, what about DOT and MC numbers? What about them? Did you ask me as far as transferring them from one state to another? I mean, that's something you can contact the FMCSA for. But As far as transferring your whole business, I wouldn't know. I've never transferred from my state to another state. But I would tell you, registering a trucking company in California is definitely something that you probably don't want to do. Yes, sir. My PR team told me about that idea, but never told me where it went. Love to collaborate with you. Scott, if you're still watching, can you please have them reach out to me, please? Um, I would love to. I mean, UST is something that I profiled. Uh, I profiled UST a couple of times, and we were working. Like, I got a few people signed up with you guys. I know you guys implemented your own app. You guys stopped using. I forget. I don't know if you were using SCI or I forget the other one. It's on. I've used it plenty of times myself. But the onboarding app. I think you guys implemented your own onboarding app. And I remember a few of my subscribers were having a hard time when you guys first implemented. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, uh, going through it. And I would reach out to one of those young ladies that reached out to me, and they were just really delightful to work with. Um, Obviously, as you can see, I have a pretty big influence in the box truck space, probably the biggest as far as final mile. And just having that relationship with you guys so that I can, have someone to contact when things, I got questions, or if I have subscribers that have questions or need help, I have someone that I can contact and kind of help, resolve things. And I would love to, maybe come do a walkthrough, maybe shoot some content. I maybe do like some type of tutorial. I think it'll be uh, uh, good for the space. So yeah, if you can have somebody reach out to me again. I don't know if those young ladies that I was in communication with last year, the year before last, are still there. If you want, you can email me. My email is pinned to the main channel page. If you go to the home channel page, my email is there. If you want to email me directly, I can go through my emails from last year or whatever and tell you who they were. Um, but I would love to have some type of relationship with you guys, since you guys are one of the bigger, more premier final mile logistics companies. You guys would help me answer a lot of questions as far as your company is concerned a lot, because things change all the time. So that would be great. Thoughts on factoring in today's final mile work? I wouldn't think you need factoring. You definitely don't need factoring. I've never factored for final mile. Never. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. How is the moving business in Miami? I wouldn't know about Miami. I would think, here's the thing, as far as from a local, and this is just me giving you my, just from understanding the industry and understanding different markets, here's what I think about Miami. I could be wrong. Miami to me is something that you have a lot of people moving into and a lot of people moving out of. So I think there's an opportunity for long distance moving in and out of Miami. As far as from a local perspective, I don't know. But we saw a lot of people move into Miami during the pandemic, right? And now we're hearing about a lot of people trying to leave Miami because of, you know, man, I'm hearing that the association fees for the condos are going through the roof out there. I just heard a bunch of stuff. The reason why a lot of people moved to Miami during the pandemic is because it was open, right? You got a lot of influencers moving to Miami, like a lot of big influencers. They're moving to Miami because one, the bigger ones can afford to live there, and two, they're moving out of LA. A lot of people are moving from LA to Florida because of Gavin Newsom. We going back to Gavin Newsom. A lot of your celebrities are moving from Hollywood over to Florida. Gavin Newsom is not only detrimental to the trucking industry out there, he's also been detrimental to Hollywood out there. A lot of celebrities are leaving California for Florida. But then you have people leaving Florida because of rich people are going to Florida People who aren't rich are leaving Florida. Those people who weren't rich that moved to Florida during the pandemic, they moved to Florida because it's open, but now they realize they can't afford to live in Florida. All right, especially Miami, right? Rich people are going there because it's a little bit more lenient than California is. So I see a lot of movement coming in and out of Florida. I don't know about local level. From a local perspective, I should say. Uh, you basically answered partnerships in trucking and the content creators who were collaborating when you got started. Yeah, me personally, and this is from, okay, so my first year that I grossed, my company grossed $1 million was 2014. And my salary was roughly about 200 grand, right? My profit margin was 20% for the company, right? If I would have had a partner, it would have been half, right? The work that I would have put in, even if I had a 50% partner, that work that I put in, being a sole owner, I would have still put that same amount of work in, even if I had a partner. So I might as well put the work in and keep all the money. All right, for 100 grand, like the amount of stuff that I had to go through to get to that point wouldn't have been worth 100 grand for me. 200 grand was okay, right, at that point, because we're talking about 10 years ago, right? But to think about it now, if I would have had to split that in half, I'd have been like, man, this is a lot of work for only 100 grand. I could have went and got a job at Walmart as a store manager and made 80 at that point and probably would have had way less work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not enough margin. And you're looking at it in today's time. Here we are 10 years later when everything is higher. You got to look at it. Everything is higher now. But the rates are the same. What I was getting 10, 11, 12 years ago in Final Mile for routes, and these are negotiated routes. I showed you the emails. I was getting a guarantee, which is obsolete today. Ain't no 3PL giving you a guarantee today. I was able to negotiate guarantees because of the amount of leverage I had having a fleet of trucks. So when a 3PL comes to you back then and say, man, can you give us 5? Can you give us 7 trucks? And you can say, yeah, okay, now I can negotiate. This is what I need. I want this. And the rates that I was negotiating for a guarantee are what they're offering you today without much wiggle room. But guess what? The cost to operate back then at those rates were a lot lower than it is now. The insurance is higher, fuel fluctuates, right? Up and down, right? Labor has more than doubled, right? Labor has more than doubled. So your operational expenses are higher. So your margins are smaller. I think a lot of people think of partnerships as an easier way to come in, right? When I say easier from a financial perspective, well, I don't have the money to come in myself, but if I get a partner who can split the risk with me and split it financially with me, it'll make it a little bit easier, and then we can work together. But okay, but you're also splitting the profits. And what I keep telling people who keep listening to all these content creators telling you get a box truck, you're gonna make $1 million, you're sadly mistaken. And then when you add in your cost of living, you gotta understand, and this is why I have to keep reiterating is what a lot of new entrepreneurs fail to realize or don't think about is the business has to sustain. You have to cash flow the business, and you have to make sure that the business is going to be able to pay you enough so that you can sustain whatever cost of living that you have on a personal level. If you're coming from corporate America, you're making $150,000 a year as an employee in a box truck business, you're not going to be able to pay yourself personally $150,000. So if you're accustomed to a person who makes $150,000 and you have a lifestyle, that you built off of that, your box truck business may make 180, 200 the first year. Let's say if you're successful. How much profit margin do you think the business is going to run on, and how much money you think you're going to be able to pay yourself? Your business is pretty much making what you were making as an individual working as an employee. So in actuality, when you pay yourself from your business, you're making less. And see, this is what not a lot of people think about. What the business makes is not what you make. The business has to cash flow. The business has to sustain. And this is why so many people fail, because they rob from the sustainability of business, not understanding what the hell I'm talking about right now. If your business grosses 200,000, let's say minus your payroll, what you're paying yourself, right? Your profit margin may be, let's say 60%. No, not 60%. It may cost you 60% of whatever it is that it's cost you to run that business. So let's say at least with a 40% profit margin, then let's say you pay yourself 20%. How much is 20% of 200,000? How much is it? $40,000. A big portion of your business, right, is going to your fixed costs, your truck, your insurance. Another huge cost is going to your fuel. That may be 50% right there. You still haven't even paid yourself yet. You still got other costs associated with claims, tolls. If you're running middle mile, factoring. You may have a dispatcher, your ELD, your maintenance. Where do you get off thinking you're going to come in this business with one truck and still make $100,000? You're not. And this is when people get upset, because this is not what they thought that they was going to hear. How? If you got a box truck that's grossing 150, 180,000, a big portion of that money is going back into, listen, a big portion of, listen, my first year that I did in M, 2014, it cost $800,000 to make it. I showed you the taxes. So what does that mean? That means as soon as the money was coming in, it was going right back out. It was going into maintenance, it was going to PMs, it was going into fuel, it was going into payroll, it was going into insurance. Guess what? I showed you my taxes. You saw unemployment insurance, Medicaid, Social Security. Every quarter, I had to pay into quarterly taxes. Unemployment insurance. See, a lot of y'all that come up here on the show, how you pay your people? Cash App, Zelle, Venmo. Y'all not even running the business the correct way. Y'all not even paying taxes. Unemployment insurance. So then what happens is you come in, you don't understand that, and then you already created a lifestyle uh, based around what you were making as an individual, as an employee. But you realizing now that, man, wait a minute, hold on. I thought this business thing, I was supposed to be making more. The business is probably grossing more, but it's costing a lot to run the business. So as an individual, the business pays you, you're not going to make as much off the rip, right? To pay yourself, maybe to continue to sustain the lifestyle that you were able to maintain as an employee, because the only thing you were responsible for were just the taxes for yourself as an individual. You make 100,000. Let's say your box truck or your cargo van makes 100,000. How much of that do you think is going to cost you? You think you're going to run like that whole 70, 80% profit margin shit that we dispelled from some of your favorite content creators? We already dispelled that. How is that possible? So you're going to get a free truck. You're never going to have to pay for gas. Progressive and Byberg, all these people are just going to insure you for free. Truck is never going to break down. And then even if it does break down, you could just pull into a shop, and the maintenance people are going to say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll fix it for free. You can pull into the tire place. They're going to say, here's free tires. If the truck breaks down, you need a tow. You can just call a random tow truck company. They're going to tow you for free. All this shit that happens, it costs money, right? The margins are low in this business. So if you gross 100,000, let's say your business grosses 100,000, how much do you honestly think you're going to be able to pay yourself? If you come from working a 9 to 5 or a career where you were making $100,000 as an employee and you start a business and your business makes $100,000, your vehicle makes $100,000, you don't get the $100,000. You're actually making less than what you made as an employee. And this is where a lot of people don't get it. And they get upset. Well, man, nobody told me that. Well, I'm telling you that, but when I tell you this stuff, you don't believe me because it sounds hard. But the people who tell you all these dreams and fables and stuff to get you to buy into whatever it is they're selling, you go do that. Then you have to find out the hard way. Well, Mark, how did you do it? Mark lived at the crib. Mark built his business living under my mama's roof. I would have never been able to do what I did if I had my own apartment or my own house. I would have never been able to do it. I say it all the time. I delayed my gratification. I stayed at home. I stayed at home. All the money went back into the business. So I'm saying that to say this: you have to delay your gratification when starting a business. It's not gonna be a boom bam thank you ma'am. It's not. This is a very costly business. Period. Repairs high. Listen, I just got, for the people who came in late, I said I'm gonna start shooting in the field content from time to time. Y'all know I got 2 trucks sitting around. Been sitting around for a couple years. I went to the yard, I took one of those trucks, I took it to the shop. They sent me the thing. It's gonna cost $3,000. You know they was gonna find something to charge me for. You think they was just gonna put a battery in it? No, hey Mark, you need some front end work, you need this, you need that, you need that. I just said, all right, go ahead and do it. Now you're running the truck hard throughout the year. Final mile, OTR, you're steady loading that truck up with weight. You're running it hard. Fuel, tires, maintenance, other maintenance issues, just incidentals, things that are just gonna occur. You're running final mile claims. You think they're not gonna, if you or one of your employees scratch a floor, you think, listen, they have to pay you, they're gonna take their money off the top. So, all right, man, that was my rant, man. Scott, love all the contractors out there. An unbelievable opportunity if you're willing and capable of hard as quality work. Respect to all you doing it right. Listen to Mark. He knows what he's talking about and gives it to you straight. Appreciate you, Scott. Shout out to Scott Ramsey, the founder and owner of UST Logistics, guys, in the chat. 2 for 1, back when eBay didn't fleece their sellers with exorbitant fees. Definitely back in the day. That was back in the day. Back in the day. So is it that way to start as well? I'm not following. The way you did it is definitely, listen, the way I did it is the way I think everybody should do. I think you should start from humble beginnings. I think you should start basically with what you have, very minimal, and learn. You get into a 26-foot box truck with no prior knowledge of logistics, it's going to be very difficult for you. And it's going to be very costly to learn. So if you don't have a big bag of money to sustain, right, your business while you conquer the learning curve. So surviving the learning curve all depends on how much money you got coming in. If you want to come in with very minimal insight or knowledge on logistics on any lane, your length of time before you fail is all going to depend on how much money you got. If you have a little bit of money, it's not going to be that long. If you got a big old bag of money, you may be able to make mistakes, pay for those mistakes, and learn and survive. It all depends on how much money you got. We've seen people that have come up with 12 grand. We've seen people that come up with 7 grand. We've seen people that have come up with 10. We've seen people that have come up with 20. They didn't have the information they needed. They didn't survive. If a person comes in with 100 grand, they got 100 grand cash flow after they get set up and everything, truck, insurance, DOT, they ready to run, they got $100,000 in cash flow, it's a strong possibility that they can survive the learning curve. That's why I tell people, understand what you're investing in. If you have minimal money, you need to have, you're never going to have the full understanding, right? You need to educate yourself as much as possible prior to coming in. And you need to find someone that you can latch on to that's very knowledgeable to kind of help guide you around that learning curve, because the learning curve costs. And if you don't have a lot of cash flow, your entry and your exit is going to be quick. It's going to be quick. One claim can end your career. Well, Mark, where's where we got cargo insurance for? Listen, no one files a claim for a refrigerator or for a floor. You pay that out of pocket. That's another thing that you guys don't know. Obviously, if you're on the new, you would know. Well, you think your cargo insurance just covers anything? Anybody that's been in this industry will tell you, never file a claim on penny ante. We call that penny ante shit. Excuse my language. Why? You save your insurance claims for the big stuff. Why? Because every time you file a claim, guess what happens? You're gonna pay for it. They're gonna pay for it up front, but you're gonna pay for it on the back end because your premium gonna go up. Personal insurance and commercial insurance is two different ball games. Every floor that my moving company or final mile company has scratched, guess who paid for it? My company. Whether it was my moving company or my trucking company. Every single item that was damaged, paid for it. I've had to file one claim ever. One general liability claim ever. It was for an awning. It was $55,000. And I already told you how that went. At the end of the policy, they didn't renew us. They didn't drop us right then and there. They just didn't renew us. And this was Grange. Every other little penny ante ass claim, a TV, or yeah, we fought a lot of stuff. Some things they probably did. Some things that they didn't do. We fought what we could fight, and what we fought that we lost, the company paid for it. Sometimes I've had employees come up. Rob came up and said, you know what, Mark would charge us, but believe it or not, guys, Mark took a lot of those claims on the chin. Y'all heard him say that. This is an employee. The reason why I was able to take so many claims on the chin, and why I had to take so many claims on the chin, because certain claims that I knew that the team was guilty for, that they could afford, I would charge them. But then some of the claims, I knew these guys couldn't pay these claims. So I had to look at it from a business perspective. Okay, this is a good guy. He's working. He gets on my nerves sometimes. Sometimes he's a little late. But if this claim is $2,500, is it going to be worth it for me to take that little $700, $800 check he got, and he's not going to come back to work because I took his whole check? Or even if I break it up in gibbles, if he got an 800 check and I took 200, 200, 200, 200, that 200 to him ain't like 200 to me. He's probably, if I take this first 200 and give him a $600 check, he's probably not going to come back to work. So is it worth it for me to pay this $2,500 claim and keep this guy coming? Am I going to get more work out of this guy than what this $2,500? In more cases than not, it was better for me to just pay those claims, the ones that I knew they couldn't afford, and just keep them working, right? Especially if it was a guy that I knew was a beast, right? Who claims didn't have a lot of claims, just an honest mistake, probably just having an off day. But this guy came to work and was a dependable guy, a beast. You know what? I'm gonna have to take this hit because this guy been with me 3 years. And I'm gonna get way more than $2,500. I'm gonna get this $2,500. I'm gonna get this back out of him within a week and a half. Let me just take that hit and keep it moving. And this was what Rob was basically telling y'all. If it was a $500-$600 claim and you dented a wall, you got to pay that. You know why? Because I'm 500. You can pay that. 2,500. I remember this one guy. He was backing into the dock, and for the life of me, I don't understand why their camera was so low. It was like a camera they had on the corner of the door of the dock, and he was backing. He was kind of close to the edge, and he just took the whole camera out. It was $1,200. I just paid it, right? I just paid it. You know what I'm saying? So, Axel, what up, man? Shout out to Axel. I want to get a sprint truck. Is there ways for me to make money? Plenty of ways to make money. I got content for vans. Can you get a medical carrier contract if you have a felony, but own your own company? That all depends on um, um, the provider who's providing the work. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most 3PLs, right? They do a background check on the workers, the employees that you're gonna have running on your company, and they do a background on the owner. Every single contract that I've had to go through a background check as the owner. So even though I'm not on the trucks, right, they still background check the owner. So they background check the drivers, the helpers, as well as the owner. So yes, sir, we will reach out. Pipeline. That's the name of it. I knew it started with a P. Pipeline is our onboarding app. We have made improvements based on feedback, trying to make onboarding easier. Yeah, Scott, let's do something. Please have someone reach out to me. That'll be fantastic. Ben Legendary, can you get a medical carrier contract with the felony if you own your own company? I think I just answered that one. Florida is tax friendly, right? That's one main reason why a lot of rich celebrities are leaving California and going to Florida. Da, 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 da. I answered that. Ben, please, I will get to your question. You don't got to spam it in the chat. Pippi, can you put some type of notification that if you're new to the channel, I answer everybody's questions. So you don't have to spam it. You just got to be patient. Axel, Mark, I watched a news report, celebrities moving to Tennessee and studios. Yeah. So I heard Nashville is on the rise, man. I heard, man. Mark, do you think Michigan will be a good place to start a box truck business? Absolutely. It's the Midwest. Why not? Listen, if you're in the Midwest, you're in the gold mine for freight. Point blank, period. All right? If you're in the Midwest and you're looking to run OTR, now this is based on your operational expenses too. If you come in high because you don't know any better, then that's on you. But if you come in efficient, right, your costs are low because you're doing things in the best interest of you and your business, and you understand that margins are low, so you need to come in as low as possible. The freight, you're in the mecca for freight being in the Midwest. So, yeah. I have a family members that's moving to Chicago. Do you have any contracts with 3PLs for 26-foot box trucks? There's definitely contracts here in Chicago. The founder of UST is in the chat right now. UST is one of them. Axel, the average cost of insurance from cargo van up to semi is 10 to 30K a year. Insurance costs have definitely gone up. My insurance cost has gone up. Somebody left a super chat. Let's see who it is. Sophia, appreciate that super chat. Thank you. My quote from Progressive was $8K a year for a $40,000 box truck. Sounds about average, to be honest with you right now. Let me see. But actually, 2 for 1, actually, that's not bad. Now that I'm looking at it again, you said 8K a year. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Brian said it's very rare. The truth is, it's very rare that a business owner makes any money in the first few years. Um, for the most part, it's true. Um, I think with me is I started small. I didn't start the way a lot of people want to start now. I didn't start like that. I literally started with my pickup truck, doing odds and end jobs off of Craigslist. And when I got my money up, I started renting a truck, and I was still hustling. I rented a second, I rented a third, then I started buying. By this point, now I got licensed. I licensed both companies, and I was still living at home. I was buying very inexpensive trucks, and I spent that first year I started buying trucks, 2013 going into 2014. I spent majority of 2014 just building my fleet out, and then I got an office, and then I got a warehouse. So I before I moved out, I made sure my business was up and sustainable to the point where I wanted it. I think people that come into the business at the top who have responsibilities, family, a house, apartment, things of that nature, yes, because a substantial amount of the money that, and this is why we see people start robbing from the sustainability of the business, because they have to cover their living cost. I think if people start very small and very humbly, I think they'll have a little bit more success initially than the people who start at a more advanced uh, level. Um, and then I think people need to understand that just because you're a business owner doesn't mean that it gives you the right to go out and start living above and beyond their means. I think a lot of people, because they have a business, they feel like it's a looked apart, beat apart type of thing, and they got to go out and buy the car. They have to go out and get the house and things of that nature. And then what happens is money comes in, but then now it goes back out because their cost of living. So the more money people make, the more money they spend, and I think that's what gets a lot of people too. There's a lot of variables, but yeah, for the most part, a business in most cases is not going to be profitable the first year. There are instances where it can be, but there has to be an extreme amount of delayed gratification. Um, I think when I got fully licensed, I was already had an understanding of the business because I had been operating under the table for so long that when I actually got licensed, I was already knowledgeable. So it was just I was already on go mode. Whatever I needed to learn, whatever losses that I needed to take, it came from a delayed gratification standpoint, and it came from just doing side jobs, hustling. Whatever mistakes I made, denting this dresser here, nicking this wall, not wrapping, not understanding I needed to wrap every mattress. Like those mistakes didn't cost me because I started at the bottom. Whereas if I would have started with a truck, not understanding a lot of the stuff that I didn't understand when I was working in my pickup truck at the beginning, I would have took a lot of losses. You have to work twice as hard as you ever did before. More, yeah. I said Brian is right. I say this all the time. That's how I ended the last live stream. I ended the last live stream saying exactly what you just said, and that's a lot of people don't understand. Like the difference between one of the main differences between working and being your own owner operator is, and I hear a lot of people come up and I ask them, why do you want to start your own business? They say they want to work less and generational wealth work less, and they don't understand. You're going to work more. You're going to work more. You're going to work 2, 3 times as much. You're going to work harder. You're going to work more hours. You're going to work. It's just going to be more work. So I don't understand why people think starting their own business means more time. Listen, you can buy your time back, but you're going to have to put in a lot of hours. You can buy your time back maybe 10, 15, 20 years, depending on the business and how much money you make and how you appropriate the money that's coming in when you become profitable to buy your time back sooner. But coming into a business the first, second year, you're not going to buy your time back. like that. You're sacrificing, you're investing your personal time into the business so that you can get to that point. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Listen to you talk about managing expenses, gross versus profit. You're all over it. After you pay yourself on par with a typical driver, 20% is your targeted net profit. And guys, this is the owner of UST. So I'm telling you guys, like the margins that I be telling y'all are on point because I've done it. I know what you can make in this business. I know you've seen other content creators tell you these wild 70 and 80% numbers. It's impossible. It's impossible. I showed you literally what I had to do to even get to 20%. You saw me washing my own trucks. There's times I had to go sit in the laundromat, clear all my trucks out, take all the blankets off all my trucks on a Sunday, on a holiday, and go sit at the laundromat all day and wash my own blankets. Anywhere I could cut costs, I had to cut it. Why? Because I wanted the business to continue to cash flow, but then I wanted to pay myself. Listen, all the work that I had to do to manage 30, 35 people, a warehouse, an office, and 15 trucks, I have to be compensated for it. And whatever I need to do to cut costs, however much work I need to put in, I need to make sure that I'm compensated for that. So if I got to go sit in the laundromat on a Sunday and wash my own blankets because I don't want to pay anyone to do it, so be it. If I got to wash these trucks on the 4th of July by myself, so be it. It's cheaper to go to Menards and get a $300-400 pressure washer and do it myself than to send all these trucks to the truck wash ever so often and pay them $50 a truck. So, the margins are small. And to have a 20% profit margin is really, really good. Really, really good. Because a lot of people that are profiting, they're not seeing 20%. On your second, third, fourth, that you're not driving yourself, your net will be around 15%. No one will run as clean as you do, so you will net less on additional trucks. And when he says no one is running as clean as you do, he's talking about like the mistakes. The things that you think when you're on a truck as an owner, all the way down to the smallest details, you're going to have people, they're not going to think about that stuff. You're going to be super duper precautious. Even down to just driving the truck. You're not going to ram the gas. This is why I say, oh, well, Mark, what's that blue thing on your trucks with the beeping thing? Um, that software not only is a login and obviously it monitors the truck and the GPS and the tracking, but it also sends report. Idling, harsh acceleration, harsh braking, harsh acceleration. It's bad for your MPGs, cost you more money in fuel, right? The way you drive and finesse your truck, man, your employees not going to do that. They're going to be hard on your trucks. Your employees are going to be a lot harder on your trucks than you do. So that's what he's saying. I just expose a lost and confused individual in the cargo van space doing everything wrong. I think I saw that live stream, Axel. Brian says mentorship is key. It's good to attach on to individuals in the space that know the industry, right? So, but here's the thing. A lot of people that are coming to the industry, they find content and they like to follow the content that just seems easy. And it may not be the best for them, right? But, to each his own. Kingston says, sounds about right. Only want to use your insurance for major issues. Exactly. Major issues, major issues only, major issues only. So to all the new people that are watching this, um, who are thinking about coming into this industry, like, oh, well, I got cargo insurance, so when something happens, just because you have cargo insurance don't mean you're going to use it. We as professional people in this industry, we don't use our cargo insurance for pretty much nothing. Unless it's the major stuff, then it's coming out of pocket. That's why you got to have cash flow. You have to have cash flow with the understanding, especially if you're one of those individuals who plan on scaling. You're not on the truck. Listen, and this has nothing to do with cargo insurance. I'm just going to give you guys an example. All right, I had a guy, one of my top tier guys, and I've probably told this story before. Top tier guy out of all my guys of all time, he was one of the top three. Same route every morning to the 3PL once he left the yard. This happened to be a morning, and I can tell you the story because you don't know who he is, and this was 2012. This particular morning, he turned off the street a block too soon, and the truck was 13.2 or 13.4, I can't remember, and the viaduct was 11 feet. Tore the whole roof off, peeled it back like a sardine can. Now, this is a route he takes every day. What made him turn off that particular day? This particular morning, his wife told him before he came to work that she wanted a divorce. So he was discombobulated. Still came to work, but discombobulated. Things happen. You're not on the truck. You're not each person that you have that works for you has a personal life, and they're dealing with personal things, and sometimes they bring these personal things to work, and you end up having to pay for them. You call it the cost of doing business. So don't you dare to forget to tell the next insurance company about that claim because it's there. Every insurance company can see it forever. Yep, they can see it forever. This is why you don't file claims, guys. Those little $1,000 claims. Listen, if you're in this business and you need to go file a $1,000 claim, do me a favor. Just give your truck back. If you're renting a truck, just go take it back to Penske, take it back to Ryder, take it back to Enterprise, give it back. All right? Just give it back. $2,000 claim, this not for you. Take your truck, give it back. Listen, give it back. Give it back. You're not ready. You're not ready. Listen, have you a handyman on standby, a contractor, general contractor can fix walls. Have you guys know the guys? If you're running 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trucks, I'm pretty sure one of those guys is mechanically inclined and crafty and can patch and paint walls. Find the guys that are really, really good with patch and paint. Get you some patch and paint. Get you some spackle or some putty knives. Make sure every truck is equipped with this stuff. Make sure that, whoever the guy is on that truck is good with patch and paint that can finesse things over because things happen. Know how to finesse the customer over. No worries. I'm going to patch and paint it right here, ma'am. I'm going to let it dry. We'll come back in another day. Do you have the paint code? Do you happen to have the paint that goes with it? Once it dries, I'm going to come back in a day or two and I'll sand it. And then if you have the paint, I'll paint it. If you got the paint code, I'll go get a sample thing of paint at Home Depot for $2 or $3 and I'll come back and touch it up. Listen, you not filing no claim on nothing like that. You got to do this stuff in house, baby. Brian says good employees are damn near priceless. Nowadays they are. Back in the day, listen, they would be lined up at your door. I love telling this story about prior to the gig economy. Listen, final mile moving, all the people that the world or the society didn't want, they would come into roofing, moving, final mile, all the really hard labor intensive work. Listen, they would come find you. Now, this is the type of work nobody wants to do because everybody is lazy, entitled, and lazy and shit like that. And no one wants to do this type of hard work. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? But even in more white collar type of industries, it's hard to find good work nowadays. You got people there that are lazy. So that's another thing you got to keep in mind. Especially if you want to come in with the thoughts on scaling, like sourcing talent is a lot difficult now than it used to be. Sophia says, "Mashallah." Uh, what's better, a box truck or a sprinter van? Depends. Um, I think if you know, I would. That all depends on you, your market, what you want to do. You know, so it all depends. I can't really answer that one way or another. Uh, if I were to come into this industry right now, I'd probably come in on. If I was brand new, I would probably come in with a sprinter van. Me personally, not because I'm just speaking from being a 44-year-old man. If I were coming into this industry now, I know I can't do what I was able to do 15, 20 years ago. 44, so I understand that. Um, if I came into this industry working for myself, I understand my market. I'm in Chicago. I'm in a big market, and I know I can make a lot of money here locally with a cargo van, right? So it'll cost me less money to start with a cargo van, right? My operational cost will be lower, and I can maximize my earnings in this market because of the market I'm in, as far as the freight, as far as the people, the opportunities, right? Uh, that might not work for someone else in a different market, right? Right. So it all depends on the individual. Kingston, question: what would be your very first three steps once you create a sole proprietorship? First thing my services will include moving labor. First thing I wouldn't do was first thing I wouldn't create a sole proprietorship. That's the first mistake you're making. I would not create a sole proprietorship. Why would you want the liability to be on you? You want to indemnify yourself from any and all liability. So I wouldn't create a sole proprietorship. You need to be looking at an LLC or incorporation. If you, well, clearly you're new to the channel because you wouldn't even ask that question, which is nothing wrong with being new, but I'm saying people follow. Sorry, I got a phone call. I'm not a proponent for. I'm a fan of incorporations, right? S corp, right? So proprietorships is too. It leaves you open. It leaves you exposed. All right. So no sole proprietorships. All right. LLC or corporation. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Phone call. All right. So main service is going to be strictly moving labor, no box truck. Okay. So if it's going to be moving labor, I still would do LLC. I would still do LLC or corporation. All right. I wouldn't do any sole proprietorship. Anything could happen. You don't want to leave yourself exposed. So if you're going to do just labor, you can probably start with an LLC. But depending on how much you planning on scale, if you plan on having a multitude of people, then you probably want to do corporation. And you want to further indemnify yourself, right? I think an LLC leaves you a little bit more exposed than a corporation because it's easier to pierce the corporate veil of an LLC than a corporation. So I would go corporation. But this is all depends on how far you're looking to go with it. So you got to kind of have an outlook further on down the line. I know what it's like to go through a lawsuit internally from a person that I hired, right, for something that didn't even happen to him. It was an accident, a truck accident, and they saw a check. All right. Me personally, Mark, the individual, I wasn't exposed to it, right? So me personally, I like S corps, but I would go with an LLC or corporation to start. I wouldn't do a sole proprietorship. Two for one says if you're okay with heights, you can do $300 to $400 a day doing roofing, gutter cleaning, market depending on course. Yeah, roofing is one of those industries where a lot of people don't want to do it. I get why, but that was my question. Where can I get started with my pickup truck before pursuing a box truck? So I did a live stream a few weeks ago. It's called how to start a box truck or cargo van business with nothing or something. Whatever the live stream is from a few weeks ago with the pickup truck on the thumbnail, go check that one out. I think that one might have some good information for you. I gave pretty much a live stream of how to get started with a pickup truck. That's what that whole live stream was about. Shout out to Moving Company Hustle in the building. Edgar Guzman, no breakdown away from disaster. Shout out to Lex Luthor for becoming a part of MGM gang. Wow. Let me see. Moving Company Hustle. If you have a mentor, take their advice. Don't waste their time. Take the advice and develop the process. Let me see. Your employees' complacency will cost you. Jeep build, yeah, do junk remove. Or learn to do yourself. I've repaired multiple pieces of furniture. Yeah, like when you start moving and start doing final mile, you got to really start educating yourself so that you can educate your team on how to do a lot of repairs. Like wall damage, that's going to happen with moving and final mile delivery. I mean, depending on the level of damage, you should be able to repair that. You should know how to patch and paint. It's not hard. Patch and paint isn't hard. All right. Hello, finally caught a live, flying to pick up the company box truck Tuesday. Watched a lot of your videos. Thank you for your advice. Appreciate you for watching. Good luck on your new business. I do junk removal, 1K a day, 3 trucks sometimes. Some jobs for a clean out can be 1,000 in one day. I believe it. I was in the junk removal business for about a year. Joel Mom, Mark, do you have any info on the market in Minnesota? It's the Midwest, so depending on what lane you're looking to do, here's the thing with Minnesota. Everything in the wintertime in Minnesota pays handsomely. Why? Because of the weather up there and the snow. So you can make money up there if you know how to maneuver up there in the snow. You're in the Midwest, so outbound opportunities are all around you for the most part. Wisconsin is a little bit south of you. Illinois, we're a little bit south of Chicago. You got Michigan, right? So as far as freight is concerned, you're in the Mecca as far as geographically for freight. Your market presents great financial opportunities in the wintertime, right? A lot of people are scared to go to Minnesota in the wintertime. If you're in Minnesota, you know how to maneuver around Minnesota, right? Because that's your element, right? That's your leverage, right? So I think it's a great opportunity. Are D1 college towns good for moving work? I think any college markets are good for college moving work right before the semester starts. So like August, right? So parents start looking for that like July going to August, because the end of August, beginning of September is when they're moving in, and then middle of May is when they're moving out. So April is when the parents are looking to source. You need to get some type of way, get into those forums. What I learned is that, in a lot of these colleges, parents have like their little Facebook groups and forums and stuff like that. It was forums back in the day where they recommend vendors to the other parents. A lot of these kids, parents don't live in town, right? So with everything that's going on, if a parent, let's say, hires my moving company, they have a great experience and they have a daughter who, it's maybe kind of shy and they don't want like 3 burly men around them. We use this company. The owner is this guy named Mark. We used them. These guys came in. They got to work. My daughter said they were a delight to work with. They weren't creepy. They didn't stare at her. None of that stuff. I recommend this company if you need to do some, around campus moving or long distance moving from campus back to wherever your kid is from, right? I couldn't make it there. Her father couldn't make it there. He couldn't leave work. So we trusted this company. They did an exceptional job. I recommend using this company to move. If you can get into those forums, because they're private, these aren't on a public scale, because they're within the college's infrastructure, then that's how you win all those contracts.
They're not really contracts, but that's how you win all those jobs. So if you can get in the inner workings of the parents' infrastructure as far as the forums and the groups for these kids, same thing with the a lot of the what do you call them, the these chamber of commerce. So like we were in with one of the chamber of commerce here. So like all the senior living moves we got, like for this one particular senior living village, they would only let my company come in, right? And every person that moved in or out of that senior living facility, they recommended our company. And we didn't have to give them anything. It was just, there was always an issue, but when my guys came in at one time, we had to either move some money in or move out of it. It was just very seamless. Nothing got damaged. Everything was wrapped and padded. We protected their property. And I guess the director or something saw it and they contacted the office and they were like, man, this is the most efficient move we've had. Your guys understood that this is a senior living facility. We had to stop the elevator at some point. I think that's what happened because it was lunchtime or breakfast, so they waited patiently. They didn't cause a fuss, and they were patient, understanding that it's a senior living facility. So sometimes we had to take the elevator from them to transport somebody that might have been in a wheelchair and things. And that's how we were able to lock that contract. And it was just something that was just, we weren't expecting to do. Is just, being at the right place, right time, and being efficient. So I think, and I kind of ventured off with answering that question as far as D1 colleges are concerned. But yeah, if it's a college town, those are when you want to look for those moves. Spring, right, and at the end of the summer. But you need to infiltrate into those groups, those parent groups, because those are the people that are paying for the move. And that's the strategy behind it. You have to look for the parents, not the kids. The parent groups is where you want to market to, not the students. I have yet to move a student or had a student that booked the move and they paid for it. It's always the parents booking the moves. It's the parents coordinating the moves. It's the parents that paying for the moves. So that's the trick, and that's a gem right there. You want to market to the parents, not the students. Mark, junk removal is where it's at, but all these folks want to try to get rich overnight in junk removal. You touch money every day. Man, junk removal, listen, if it wasn't for me, that was the one industry I had a partner in, junk removal, because he was just not a business savvy guy and he wanted a partner, and I said, all right, boom. There's a lot of money in junk removal. Here's the thing with junk removal where I think a lot of people don't want to do it. It's a nasty business. It's a nasty business. You don't know what you're walking into from one day to the next. You're definitely not going to get rich overnight doing it, but you can make a lot of money doing it. It's a lot of money in junk removal. A lot of money. Listen, junk removal is easier than moving. Listen, junk removal is easier than moving, especially if you're doing like a full gut, like a clean out. You don't have to worry about damaging nothing. Matter of fact, you can take a sledgehammer to a lot of this stuff. Listen, I used to get so much satisfaction out of beating shit with a sledgehammer for that 1 year when I was learning the junk removal business, because I was out there doing it because I needed to understand what it entailed. Listen, I used to beat the shit out of shit with a sledgehammer because we had to break the shit down so we can have more room on the dump trailer. You didn't have to worry about breaking it. We used pretty much basement clean outs, garage clean outs. It would be shit that was already outside. It's easier than moving. You're still moving shit, but you have less liability to worry about because the stuff is going to the dump. Yeah, you're going to go in some basements. You're going to go into some crawl spaces. There's going to be cobwebs and shit all over the place. But you wrap yourself up. You wrap your hair up. Make sure you got your goggles, your face mask on. Make sure you got your PPE, your gloves. Listen, it's dirtier, but it's easier. And it's about the same money and sometimes more, depending. Junk removal is a good business, but a lot of people ain't ready. That's too much. Hey, that's too much. Listen, you got to be cut different because you're gonna go into some spaces and you're gonna be like, holy, I'm telling you, you got to be cut different for that. But it's a lot of money in it. You say I'm starting a sole proprietorship because you don't own anything. It's not about what you own. You don't have to own anything. What if you go do a labor-only job and you make a mistake? What if you're on a labor-only job with someone else and they get injured? See, you're looking at it the wrong way. It's business. If I work for you and you start a labor-only company, you hire me. I'm on a labor-only job, and I'm giving you an example based on something that's happened for me. I had a guy who, it was for one of my contracts, and they were doing a full gut rehab of the house, and the contractor hired us to pick up all the radiators. This was an old house, so we had to pick up the radiators and take them to this powder coating place. The stairs were faulty. These guys are going down flights of stairs with heavy radiators, all right? One of the guys fell through the stairs. The stairs gave way. He fell through the stairs. The radiator fell on, crushed his leg. I told this story before. Now, let's say I worked for you and I was that guy. I'm suing you. I'm suing you. I'm suing the owner of the house. I'm suing your company. But because you are a sole proprietor, guess what? You're not indemnified. I'm coming after you. Listen, and my lawyer listen, we're going to put a lien on everything. Even if you don't got it, you got a house, lien on it. I need it. This is what happens when you're a sole proprietor. And I'm being animated, but I'm telling you the truth. If I work for you and I'm on a job and I injure myself, I'm suing you because I'm working for you. I'm suing you. I'm suing the owner of the house that we in. I'm suing anybody that got anything remotely to making money some way, shape, form, or fashion off this or got something to do with it. I'm suing you because guess what? I'm working for you. So because you're not indemnified, because you're not a corporation or you're not an LLC, I have to go after you. So that means all your assets are exposed. If you own a house, I need it. If you own a boat, I need it. Whatever that is, we can put a lien on it and turn it into cash. I need it. My leg is crushed. It has nothing to do. So guess what? You may not own anything, but here's the thing. Anytime you do decide to own something, I got to get my cut, right? Your social security number, anything, we're going to make sure that we get our cut. I'm going to be a thorn in your behind for the rest of your life, forever until you start paying me. I will never do a sole proprietorship. Why put yourself through all of that? Why go through it? For 150, listen, it costs $150 to get an LLC. $150 to get a corporation. So you mean to tell me you're willing to have Mark come after you for the rest of your life for $150? And another 100 and something bucks? General liability insurance is probably one of the, out of your commercial auto, your general liability, your commercial cargo, your general liability is the cheapest for the most part. Your commercial auto and your cargo is going to cost more. Workers' comp if you need it. General liability don't really cost that much. And you're running a labor only anyway. So you mean to tell me you're willing to expose all your personal assets for a couple $100? Ain't about what you got now. It's about what you're willing to get. So you're not going to never own no house. You're not going to ever own nothing. Listen, your stocks. You got any some gold bars? We're going to find it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to find Goldberg. Go find it all. Find whatever he got hidden. Go find it. We need it. You might come across somebody who don't have that knowledge, but you might have somebody working for you that got those resources. It's not worth it. Indemnify yourself. What? Chase says driving a box truck in general is a liability because of other drivers on the road. True. One of the biggest fears was somebody hitting somebody with a box truck and it being someone, getting hit by it and dying. That was my biggest fear. God, thank God it never happened. Um, what is the best way to generate leads and market oneself in order to get more dedicated contracts? What is the best way to generate leads and market oneself in order to get more dedicated contracts? One is communication. When you go into these 3PLs, you need to communicate with the dock supervisor, the operations supervisor, the dispatchers. You need to communicate with them. One, all right, you need to be on time. Two, you need to be efficient. They know who's doing what, right? So less claims. Communication, efficiency, less claims. Communication, efficiency, less claims. When you come into a 3PL, you're going to start at the bottom. You're going to get the worst route, right? Because the people that they're already in tenure, they've already worked their way up the seniority list. The best routes, the most efficient routes, the people that have been there the longest have those. In order for you to get to that point, you have to be efficient. As people fall off, you can lobby and bid for those more efficient and better routes. You have to communicate this so that you think you're the only person that's wants a better route. There's other people that are lobbying for it too. So you have to communicate this, right? And obviously, if you are a claim laden person or a claim driven person or a person who's just liable, why would they reward you? Less claims to no claims, communications, and efficiency. Now, if you are a person who was running through them like me, where you got all of those, plus you got leverage, because like I always tell you, there's always freight left on the dock. There's always an independent contractor who's not doing things in the best interest for himself or his business and doesn't show up. And you have the manpower and the trucks to help cover some routes that are left on the dock, and even more leverage for you. Hey, talk with Walt. You got an extra truck that we can, we got a couple routes that were left on the dock. These guys didn't show up. So now, communication, very little, minimal claims, efficiency, and you're bailing them out. Scott Randy says steps to start. Start by being a driver first. Gross $225 as pay. Driver $60K plus net $45K. Carefully add 5 more trucks. Train drivers on your truck. Come off the truck and grow. So I came off the truck. He's right. I came off the truck at 3 trucks. So my 4th truck, but 3rd truck I came off. So, but yeah, you definitely have to be on that truck to learn the business. Not for 1 year, not for a few months. I was on the truck for 3 years before I came off, like 2.5, 3 years. Cold calls? Are you talking about direct to consumer? Are you talking about business to consumer or business to business? If you're talking about business to consumers, no, you don't got a cold call. You can use stuff like. Are you talking about shipping contracts, right? Direct with shippers, right? I mean, you can cold call, but here's the thing, man. Here's what you gotta understand. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You know what? Hit me on the DM. Hit me on the DM. Hit me on the DM. Or in the Discord. We'll talk about that in the Discord. Because I think a lot of people, and I've seen content out there with this direct to shipper, and it exists, but listen, that's on a minimal scale. You got a box truck. There's only so much you can do with one box truck. Let's keep it a buck. There's only so much you can do. You only got one box truck. Does it exist? Yes. But on the grand scheme of things, it's very minimal opportunities like that. Let's keep it a buck. What are some of the biggest mistakes you made when starting off? How did you rectify them? Some of the biggest mistakes that I made, a lot of my mistakes came around the actual physical part of it, as far as not understanding how to live, not understanding how to angle, not understanding what materials and what tools to use. I literally just came into this industry blind, back against the wall situation. As far as the business stuff, that came second nature because my degree is in business. So just having I'm just innate when it comes to business mentally, right? Most of my mistakes came from just the field stuff. But once I got that down, which didn't take too much time, and what I ended up having to do was I ended up hiring someone who was experienced in moving and carrying and stuff like that to train me. So he worked for me, but he trained me. So I was out on the truck with him every day in my pickup truck. He was a big 6'3" guy, stronger than me, right? More experienced than me, and he was patient with me. Even though I paid this guy, it was like he was working for me, but I was working for him because I was learning. So a lot of my mistakes came from just being in the field. Let's see. I'll start with 2 pickup trucks. I'll be starting with 2 pickup trucks with 8-foot bed, 2 trailers, 1 enclosed. Okay. Do you recommend long-range fuel tanks on box trucks or cargo vans? I mean, long range will, are more beneficial, right? But, get what you can afford. Get what you can afford. Moving company also gotta watch out for these creepy movers. Definitely read reviews. Gotta read the reviews. Kingston says, guess I gotta consider S Corp instead of LLC. I was looking to just do business as myself. That's why I thought sole proprietorship would be solid. I could sit here and try to think about a bunch of scenarios that I've come across, or just make up a bunch of scenarios that could happen. I don't think it's good to do sole proprietorship in anything. When it comes to business, when it comes to dealing with other businesses, when it comes to dealing with individuals, anything could happen. Anything can happen, and what you got to understand is this is America, and anybody can sue anybody for anything. You don't want to leave your assets exposed. Period. The one situation where I got sued in business, I would have never expected nobody to sue me. It was a fender bender. This guy saw it as an opportunity. He was on the passenger side. It was a fender bender, nothing major, just literally a fender bender, a little fender bender. This guy was laid all out like he got into a collision where the truck was totaled. The accident didn't even happen on his side of the truck. It was a fender bender. He saw an opportunity. He told me. He came into my office, right? And I got cameras in my office, and this is how ultimately we beat it, and tried to shake me down for a couple grand. And he kept going through law firms until someone would finally take the case, and I went through a deposition and everything. I did a full story time on this, and I showed the summons for me to come in for the deposition, and I did a live stream on this like a year ago. I showed it. And I'll never forget it. My insurance company, Mercury, they said, man, this is what they asked me. They like, man, should we just pay this guy, or what you want to do? I said, no, pay him, because there's nothing wrong. They like, we know he's shot. It's a shakedown, but should we just pay him and get rid of him? I said, no, we're gonna fight it. They said, you want to fight it? All right, we'll fight it. They sent me in there with a team of lawyers. This is Mercury. They didn't drop me. So even the money that was spent to fight it probably totaled out to more than the 20 grand. They didn't drop me. They supported my decision. They supported me. Right? We fought it. Right? You want to indemnify yourself. This guy he saw an opportunity. He listed my company. He listed my company, the driver that was on the truck with him. He even listened to the lady who was in the other car that was a part of the accident, who caused the accident. He listed everybody. My name wasn't listed. Couldn't list me. Corporation. I'm an employee. Now, let's say he would have been driving my truck and my name, I own the truck, then absolutely. I'm just the president of the company. I get a paycheck just like everybody else. I'm just the largest shareholder. I'm a shareholder. I don't own, listen, I don't get caught up in owner. Any business card of mine will never say owner. CEO, owner, nothing, president. I don't get caught up in titles. I don't want to own nothing. Just a shareholder. That's just me personally. Right? You can pick whatever structure of business you want to do that best suits whatever it is you got going on. But I'm telling you this, I don't care what level you're on as far as, your business, or how low your business is, or how you look at it, because you're looking at, well, it's just me and I'm just small. Anything can happen. And depending on who else is involved in that anything and how far they're willing to take it, it all depends. So anytime fishing, have respect for your hustle, and word of mouth will get you where you never thought possible. Carry yourself like a king and be treated as such, period. Word of mouth helps a lot, especially in the moving business. I always say that, like, majority of the business after so many years came from word of mouth, referrals, right? Moving is a very personable business. And, once you move one family member, you're going to end up moving a whole. If you move a family member and you do a superb job, you're going to be that family's mover. The whole family lineage. You're going to move that whole family, from the cousins to the nieces, the uncles, the aunts, the grandparents, everybody. And then what's going to happen is going to be a snowball effect. This person is at work, and this person that's sitting in the cubicle next to, we got to move. I got to find movers. The movers are so shady. We had these guys that come in. They've been moving our family for years. These guys are great. They always send great guys. They're not creeps. Everything shows up from point A to point B just the same way it came from point A. They wrap everything. They're not creeps. We actually hid some money around the house, and they found it, and they turned it back into us. Then you get that referral. Now you just open yourself up to a whole nother branch of family members and co-workers. And that's how the moving industry is. So word of mouth is definitely the key. Scott Ramsey says, S Corp all the way, hard, expensive to change later. See, guys, S Corp. I've been telling you guys this all the time. S Corp is the way to go. Make sure you guys, we did since we got about 100 people in here, I did a Discord. If you go to the channel homepage, the link to the Discord is at the top. You guys now access to box truck and cargo van, Amazon Relay, gig apps, and other things in the culture centered around box trucking, and not 24 hours a day, where you can network with other people in this space. You can ask questions. You can get answers 24 hours a day. You got people in there because I opened it up to the members first. They're up in there 5 o'clock in the morning uploading pictures of videos of them in the 3PLs loading their trucks. I had a guy who shot a video the other day and he uploaded of him doing a final mile delivery in a home of a big refrigerator. It might have been 28 cubic feet. And he showed how he took the doors off. And it was a difficult final mile delivery, but he got it in there. So I think this is a great segue from the YouTube to the Discord, because now you have that 24-hour access, and you got people in there all the time, uploading pictures, uploading videos. You can ask questions and there'll be people in there answering them. If you add me, I'm a little bit more responsive over there than I am on Instagram. So make sure you guys go and join the Discord. All right. Link is in this description. It's also attached to the channel main page. You can go click it there as well. Junk removal probably requires knowing your cost to dispose of trash, hazardous stuff. Exactly. So here's one thing that I was learning about junk removal. You got to be able to eyeball something and kind of know what it weighs, right? They charge the facility where you go to drop the junk. They charge by the ton, right? $75 a ton, $90 a ton, whatever, $135 a ton. So you got to be able to eyeball something when you give a quote and know, listen, okay, this is about a ton worth of stuff. So I know I'm going to have to pay about $90 to dump this, right? So I need to, it's going to take about this amount of time. I need this amount of labor. This is where a lot of people can mess up at, because you can misquote. You got to be able to look at everything in there and kind of have an idea what it's going to total out to weighing, right? So that can become a challenge. And that's what I was focusing on, learning that. He wouldn't be an employee of mine. He would be a subcontractor helping me. But see, just because he's a subcontractor don't mean he can't sue you. He could still sue you. Anybody can sue anybody for anything. But the difference in him not suing you versus suing an LLC or an S corp, that doesn't necessarily mean that person will win. But you don't want your name associated to anything. Why would you want to lean on your personal assets? You might have a family. Like, why do you want to put all that in limbo? I got plenty of live streams where we talked about this. Listen, to structure a business doesn't cost a lot of money. Now, I'm not trying to put nothing of me personally. I need a place to stay. I need a roof over my head. Like, all the stuff that I have acquired from a personal perspective, I don't want it in jeopardy. Anything can happen. Amazon. Everybody that runs Amazon, as far as Relay and AFP and all those guys are subcontractors. But guess what? There's fatalities. The people still go after Amazon, but Amazon puts the blame on the contractor. But the people still go after Amazon. The difference between you and Amazon is going to always have better lawyers than you. But if you come across someone that's suing you that has a better lawyer than you because they can afford a better lawyer than you, then what? The money is going to take you to have a lawyer draw all that stuff up so that you can skate away scot-free. Like Amazon, you better just put less money into structuring your business with an LLC or a corporation. Here's the thing. If I was a subcontractor for you and you provided me the work and something happened to me, I would still sue you. If I'm a subcontractor for you and my company did something, and let's say whoever was affected by it and they sued my company, I would countersue your company. Doesn't mean I'm going to win. But you don't have a company. You're a sole proprietor. But let's say I got more money than you. My lawyer he's a Jewish lawyer. He's a Jewish guy. His name is Goldberg. He costs a lot of money. You may just be having to go through something in your life where you may not even be able to afford a lawyer. But I got one. Something may have happened. You might have had to replace your roof or something. Anything can happen. But I'm going after you, your first and your last name. And I'm paying a pretty penny to my lawyer to find whatever it is you own. And because my lawyer is who he is, and I'm paying him, he has relationships. There's nothing there protecting you. Nothing at all. So who's going to win this battle? Person who got the more money. So if they beat me, but because you sent me on this job for whatever reason, and we feel like we can put the blame on you, I'm going to recoup my money and recover my money from you. And it'll probably be easier because you have nothing protecting you. It's not even a corporate veil to pierce. It's just you. It's just you. Mark, when you're in the junk removal business, did you have a contract with the recycling center? If so, how do you go about acquiring one? No, I didn't. We just paid at that time it was $75 a ton. Scott Ramsey says, Kingston, you're still arguing sole proprietor. You're in trouble before you start. Look up how workman comps work. I'm telling these guys, man. And those recycle centers were charging more for me as an individual. That's why I asked for your help. What market are you? Well, Rich Jew, you're in Chicago. So here's the thing. If you're going to Republic Services here, or you're going to Republic Services, or you're going to Waste Management, if you're going to all the big corporate franchises, you're going to spend an arm and a leg. You got to go out to 130th and Ashland, the tri-state. That was the cheapest people. They were 75 at that time. They're 90 now, and they're still the cheapest at $90 an hour. Republic Services wants 135. Waste Management want like 125. It's a spot on like 20-something in LeClaire or 20-something in Leamington. They wanted like 100-something. The cheapest place is going to be tri-state on 100 in Blue Island, like on 130th in Ashland. And $90 an hour. Can't beat them. Shout out to Gerard, Axel. When I had employees, the workers' comp was actually cheaper if I enrolled them in a temp service. Starting out, knew was hard. Definitely starting out, knew was hard. Does someone need a box truck? I have one for sale. Joe says he has a box truck for sale. Rome, hey, Mark, off subject, what platform you use for your stock investing? It depends. Long-term M1, short-term Robinhood. Long-term M1, short-term Robinhood. Advice for 18-wheelers, company driver or owner-operator? Moving company hustle says starts with the basics. Moving isn't only picking up boxes and putting them in the truck. Definitely not only picking up boxes and putting them in trucks. Listen, guys, I'm gonna say this. The last 3 years before I retired, 2020, 2021, 2022, were harder being on the truck, right, than 2010, 2011, 2012, right, going into 2013, right? When I was forced to come back out of the office and into the truck during the pandemic because of lack of employment, because everybody had all this free money and shit like that, it was tough, right? I hadn't been on a truck in 7 years. And I'm now a 40-year-old man at that point versus a 30-year-old guy. It's a lot more than just putting boxes on a truck. I've talked about my shoulder. I'm still going through therapy for my shoulder. Like the amount of strain that you put on your body, moving people, even with final mile delivery. And I know I talk about cost, but let's really speak really quick from a moving perspective. It's imperative that you know your costs. Not only because you're out, out here running, you don't want to take a loss, your time, the wear and tear that you're putting on your body. Why do you want to go out and spend all this time and not understand what it costs you to run your business and take losses and still put wear and tear? The wear and tear that you put on your body is a loss as well. So what he's saying is a lot more than putting shit on a truck. There's techniques, knowing how to use the equipment, knowing what equipment to use in what situations, knowing how to lift, knowing how to squat, bend your knees, keep your back straight. So I know I talk about the operational costs and shit like that, but I never really talk about the physical aspect. Now, here's another thing that I talk about, but no one ever comes up and adds this into their cost per mile equation. Insurance, health insurance. How do you think I can go through therapy? Have insurance, right? So you have to factor this in. A lot of people ain't factoring this in. I know they're not factoring it because they don't tell me they have insurance. And we know they don't have insurance because they're already operating at a loss. You know how much insurance costs nowadays? Listen, as an owner operator, there's no HR person that calls you down to the office and say, okay, we got to put your benefit package together. You're responsible for your own benefit package. So you have to make sure that you're not robbing from the sustainability of the business. You got to make sure that you can afford to pay for health insurance. I know this is kind of off topic, but I want to talk about this too really quick before we end the live. Listen, if you're not healthy, if you're not going and getting checked out and this, that, and the third, your time period of making money is going to be cut short. Health insurance is also going to lower your profit margin. But this is something that you guys have to have. I'm still waiting for someone to come up and tell me, well, I got to add I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that a part of their fixed cost is health insurance. Still have yet one person. It's not that they forget, it's because they don't have it. The first thing that I did prior to this is back when I was hustling. So when I first started in 2010, January of 2011, I got an insurance policy. And I'm still under the table back then. I don't even think I had rented my first truck. I'm still in the pickup truck. And I got proof. I got an insurance package in January, I believe it was, February of 2011. That was one of the first major investments that I made when I started really seeing money from hustling out of a pickup truck. I understood that health insurance was important. I'm lifting heavy shit. I need some insurance. I need people to start factoring this in. This is like not even a non-negotiable. As a business owner, it's your responsibility to make sure that you cover your health insurance. We can talk about investment. That's something we cover, but we can talk about that another time. Because guess what? You got to set yourself up for retirement. So he's saying there's a lot more to moving. I'm telling you, there's a lot more to being a business owner. It's not just going out doing the work and getting money and then going and spending it on dumb shit. There's a lot more. You have to be a lot more financially responsible than a lot of these your favorite content creators are preaching. They're not telling you this. I've been telling you guys this since day one. There's no HR department. There's no HR office. You are your own HR. You have to create something for the future. You don't want to be doing final mile for the rest of your life. You don't want to be doing moving for the rest of your life. You want to get in, work really, really hard, make as much money as you can possibly make in a time frame that you set prior to you coming in. You want to give yourself a window. Whatever that window is, you want to work extremely hard. You want to beat yourself to death. And while you're doing that and money is coming in, you are appropriating to other things so that you can get out. This is not something that is going to last forever, not even physically. Even if you don't have plans on scaling, you can't do this type of work forever. I am new to this. I'm trying to get into the box shop business. What advice would you have for me? Start very, very small. Start very, very small. Understand what you're investing in prior to coming in. Do a lot of research. All right. Create a business plan. Business plan is very important. Do that before you even go structure your business. Do a business plan. If you don't know how to set a business plan up, I got a live stream that I've show you how to set up a business plan tailored specifically to this industry. All right. Understand your market. Understanding the different lanes that you can run with a box truck or a cargo van to determine which lane would work best for you depending on your market. You may want to stay local, but your market may not present opportunity, so it may force you to go over the road if this is something that you still want to do. There's a lot of things and variables when it comes into play as far as starting this type of business, right? So a lot of research. Have a full understanding for the most part what you're investing in before you get into it. Make sure you consume the right information, the right content. Come in with a very, very low overhead, as low as possible, because the margins in this industry are very small. Any thoughts on putting commercial insurance, LLC, MC, DOT on personal vehicle to season the MC, DOT before getting a box truck? I never thought about that. I really don't have I don't have any thoughts on it. I've never thought about it. Shout out to Superman. Moving company hustle. I know so many box truck owners who have been sued by their 1099 contractors. I also know guys who have been effed by the IRS over payroll taxes for 1099 contract. Right. So he's basically talking about misappropriation. Misclassification. All right. A lot of, and I see that happen a lot. Like, and we've discovered a lot of that on the call-in show. Like, you got a lot of guys that are misclassifying their employees as contractors. No, it wasn't the last call-in show. I think it might have been the one before last, or maybe 2 or 3 ago, where I was getting into it with a guy and I was telling him you're misclassifying your employees. If they work for you and you're assuming all the costs of the business, they're your employees. They're not contractors. Even just explaining that to some people is just like, it's difficult. So yeah, there are a lot of people who get in trouble for misclassification. Have a contract with the recycling center and walk into their office and ask them, you talking about getting, let me see, how much particle board furniture is the worst, it can barely support its own weight. Particle board furniture sucks. That's why you have to be very careful when you're handling it, even when you're wrapping it. You know what I'm saying? I've run across some particle board furniture. It was wrapped too tight with the blankets and the shrink wrap, and it broke it. How much would I need to start a box truck business with rentals, and how fast do you think it is possible for someone to make the money back in the truck? This is a question that was asked earlier. It all depends. I think minimum for an individual coming in on the minimum now is about 30K. And, you know, depending on your, you know, what you're coming in, as far as the lane, what you're coming in to do, and the amount of knowledge that you have would determine if that 30,000 would be enough or not. Actually, I need to hear is what about offering to employers is like not federally required, but big and bulk affiliates and that's it. Actually, you talking about health insurance? You talking about offering health insurance? Yeah, no way you can go without imagine tripping out of that truck. If you're talking about actually physically tripping out of a truck, I've actually fell off a truck a few times off the back. Just really working hard, not being aware to how close I was to the edge of the truck and literally fell off a few times. It happens. You know, it's not something I'm ashamed of. It happens. I fell off a truck probably maybe 5 or 6 times. Now, moving company out, I wasn't talking about the employees, but I was talking about the individual. Employees is a whole different ball game, but there's a lot of guys that watch that are self-employed owner operators that don't even have health insurance. Moving on. Buster Grind said got his toes crushed by a lift gate. Y'all, believe it or not, so when I had to get back on the truck during the pandemic, 2020, 2021, 2022, I only did jobs like, so my obviously my uniform, but all my footwear has always been steel toes. So not necessarily boots in the summertime. I would buy like steel toe sneakers, not nothing name brand, obviously, sneakers that create steel toes. Not for this reason, but just for any reason, just anything. I just never want nothing to fall on my feet. So even when I start creating content, in the field, you're gonna see me with steel toe sneakers on. For the most part, steel toe sneakers, and believe it or not, guess what? They gonna be some $50, $60 hollers. $50, $60 hollers. I got some Red Wing steel toes. I do listen, when I'm on the truck, it's steel toes. It's steel toes. I gotta protect them. I gotta protect them toes, man. I gotta protect them toes. I ain't out here with the Air Force Ones. I'm not out here with the Air Maxes. I'm out here with the steel toes, man. Listen, you see me on the truck and you see me out in the street, it's gonna be like day and night. I'm telling you, I got the Dickies on. I got the Dickies on with either the Red Wings or some Yokozhimas or some Yokosadis or whatever. They got the steel toe sneakers that look like the Air Force Ones or look like the Air Maxes. That's what I got on the sneaker side. Boots, Red Wings. But it's too hot to wear Red Wing boots right now. I think they have composite crush proof boots now. I got to be careful with the steel toes, but they heavy commercial construction. So they got some composite crush proof boots. I'm going to have to look into that. All right. So, man, appreciate everybody today. Shout out to everybody. Big special shout out to Scott Ramsey, founder, chief executive officer of UST Logistics in the chat. If you're still here, I appreciate you for chiming in these past couple of hours, just giving your insight on the industry from a founder's perspective of a really large 3PL. I'll look forward for your email and hopefully we can do something together in the space. Shout out to Moving Company Hustle. Shout out to Pippi. Shout out to all the moderators. Shout out to Rich Jew. Shout out to everybody. I seen Jeep in here. Kingston for all your questions. Axel for chiming in. Scott Ramsey from UST. Moving Company Hustle. Shout out to everybody for coming in. Once again, I did do a Discord. Listen, I think the Discord is it's been open for the members for the past week, and they've put a lot of content in there, videos of them like at the loading docks, 3PLs, pictures, questions, people answering each other's questions, a lot of networking. I think it's good. It's free. You know what I'm saying? So another way to network in this industry. Listen, the space is dead, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not lying to you. It's this is a small space, and I'm trying my best to keep it alive, right? So I took the time and built it. It's free. Go join it. It's 24 hours a day, and people are in there. You can, kind of communicate 24 hours a day. There's always people in there talking to each other. You can create a live chat if you want, a video live chat, an audio live chat on the server. I'm thinking about hosting some events in there where we can all do video group chats and maybe focus groups as far as box trucking. There's an Amazon channel in there. I seen some people in there comparing rates from their different markets. I seen in the box truck channel, I think, people talking about the different markets for the contact information for one of the 3PLs or something like that. Direct message, then I kind of respond a little bit quicker than I do on Instagram. So make sure y'all check that out. It's up. I hope to see y'all there. Until the next time, shout out to everybody. It's on the main page. Somebody said, watch somebody make them a Discord now. My bad, phone kept ringing. Somebody said, Mark, I sent that email over. Somebody said somebody else gonna make a Discord now. Here's the thing with Discord. I already know it's gonna be people that's gonna copy it. The thing with Discord, there's only a few people in this space that could probably make a successful Discord. Discord ain't gonna be successful unless you got a big following. So if you don't have a big following, there's no way it's gonna be successful. Because in order for it to be successful, because it's a 24-hour thing of engagement, you have to have a following. And there's only a few people that got a really large following. And with that, it requires a lot of moderation. So that's why you don't see a lot of people create a Discord, because it requires a lot of moderation. It requires a following because it's 24-hour engagement. It requires a lot of authentication to get in, because it's heavily spammed and botted. So that's why it requires a lot of moderation, and you have to keep filling it with content, right? If no one's in there, it's not going to be successful, right? So yeah, that's that. Listen, I can only it's always going to be the leaders, and there's always going to be people that follow. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But man, I'm trying to make sure. Andrew Groom said, like, DJ Academics. DJ Academics got one of the best Discords, right? The engagement over there is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You go into his Discord, it is always people in there contributing, right? So you have to have people that are dedicated to contribute. And I think I'm at that point where we got enough people that are willing to contribute. I'm surprised with just the members how much shit that they put in there in the past week. 5 a.m, they doing videos and shooting pictures of them loading up on deliveries on the road. Asmarolin's in there. He's then went from cross country. He's in Boston now, working his way back to the West Coast. He updating content, shooting videos and pics of moves he's doing along the way. You got Final Mile guys in there. You got OTR guys in there. You got people in there asking questions. Obviously, the stock and the crypto is locked because you got to be a part of the MGM gang. But if you're a part of the MGM gang, then you'll get access to that, right? So yeah, man. Mark, I sent over that email. I did see that email come through. I gotta open it up. I've been working on that Discord. What's the link to the Discord? The link is in the description of this live stream, and also if you go to the main channel page, you'll see it on the main channel page in the About section. I also put it in the community. If you go to the main channel page and you go to the community, I did a community post this morning with the link. So either go to the main channel page, go to the community page. I put a link up this morning, or you can go into the description of this live stream. And then that'll give you the link to sign to the Discord. You do got to go through the authentication, your email. It's probably going to ask you to authenticate it with your real phone number. This is how we're going to keep out the spam, the bots, and the unwanteds. We got about 50 moderators in there already. So not playing any games. I want to try to make it the biggest logistics box truck. I got a semi channel, I got an Amazon channel, cargo van channel, box truck channel. We even got culture channels. We got, things that are not really necessarily pertaining, to the box truck. You know what I'm saying? But that's the primary focus, logistics, right? We even got a gigs channel in there. I'm gonna start hosting some events in there as far as like audio and video rooms in there, right? And the audio and visual part. Yep. I think it's cool. I like the platform. You said, Mark, that's too much work. Just pin it. I'm gonna how we go about work on the Discord. Just pin what? Here. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can pin it. It's not. I had to switch over because I gotta get the code. Hold on. Where's the chat? Hold on. How do I put something in the chat? Hey, man, listen. Check this out. I don't know how to work that all the way. All right? I ain't finna hold you. You gotta remember, I'm an OG, so it takes some time. I don't even know how to put I don't even know how to put a thing in the chat here on my phone. How do you do this? All right, look, I don't know. All right, I'm sorry. I don't know. You got to go to the channel main page, the description here, or go to the community from this morning, because I don't know. All right, I'm trying to do it. Hold on. I don't even know how to put it in here. Pippi, can you go copy and paste that from them, please, and pin it, please? Because I don't know. Community moderation. How do you... I don't even think I can chat. Yeah, I can't. From my phone, it's not letting me do it. Like, why y'all think like I'm some type of 18-year-old, 21-year-old that's just zippity dude all day with all this technology and apps and phones and stuff? I be having to figure out how to do this stuff. Y'all think I make it look easy, but some of this stuff, like that shit was tough for me. I'm still trying to figure that shit out. Someone get their uncle. Yeah, someone come get your uncle. I am an uncle. I'm an uncle. Listen, I'm happy to still be living. I done went through a lot. I'm happy to still be here. I made it. Listen, I lived well beyond the statistic. I was supposed to have been dead 20 years ago, 19 years ago. According to statistics, I was supposed to have been dead at 25. Right? So, I lived 19 years past the statistic. And I'm in Chicago too. So take another take another 6-7 years off of that. Take another 6-7 years off of that. Chicago, your statistic is about 15 or 16. It wasn't that low back then though. Back then, it was like 25. So I ain't ashamed of being the uncle. I am what I am. I am what I am. I'm happy to be here, you know. check this out. A 21-year-old can't give you all this wisdom as far as this space. Can't do it. 22, 23. The reason why I can give a lot of people this wisdom is because of the age, the tenure, the time span, the years that I've put into this industry. You know what I'm saying? It's why I can provide so much wisdom. So Kenneth Pearson said they will never listen. People don't care about understanding business. They just want money. And you're right. There's some people that don't care about understand business, and those are the people that fail, and those are the people that obviously ultimately get taken advantage of. Here's the thing. We need people like that. I'm going to do a live stream. It's going to hurt some people's feelings. Someone asked me to do a live stream on 2 topics because they want my perspective on it, but I think they want me to do it because, 1, because they want my perspective, and 2, they know it's going to hurt a lot of people, right? And this is one of them. You'll never make the money if you don't understand business. The people that understand business, they ultimately become successful. The people that don't, that get that business, you have to understand business, and they put money first. But here's the thing, we need those people. Because everybody can't be an entrepreneur. You know, so this is what it is. I can't pin it. I'm waiting on Pippi to pin it before I end the live so it can come up in the chat. There you go. All right, so there's the link, guys. There's the link. You know, so Pippi pinned the link. No, is there a way I can pin it? Hold on, let me see. They won't even let me pin that. Nope, they keep, every time I hit it, it just clicks on the link. All right, so Pippi just put up the link, guys. Yeah, it's not letting me pin because it's a. If I was on the on the computer format, it would, but for some reason it don't let me do it. It'll let me do all these other people, but that don't have a link, but for some reason that one it won't. Oh no, here it goes. No, hold on, that's the wrong one. Oh, here it go. Hold on, pin. There you go. All right, so there you go. All right, y'all. I see some people signing up. Kenny says, good live to Gay. Appreciate you. It just pinned, so hopefully it'll pin it from the beginning of the live stream. Probably not. But we'll just promote it the next live stream. I think the call-in show, I'll just really promote it. I'm just giving people a few chances to click that link. Then I'm gonna get out of here. Hey Pippi, what's your name over there so I can make sure I give you the moderation status? Is it Pippi? Shout out to you, Caduce. Peace. Hey, Pippi, what's your name over there? All right, y'all. Till the next time. Peace.